It is 6:01. Good morning. Live from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. A new Super Bowl champion will be crowned this year as the Eagles fall to the 49ers yesterday 23-19. Brock Purdy threw for 262 yards and 2 touchdowns, but the 49ers lose tight end George Kittle, who suffered a torn Achilles. The 49ers will now play NFC West rival and one-seeded Seahawks this Saturday in Seattle. In Jacksonville yesterday, Josh Allen threw for 273 yards, 3 total touchdowns, leading the Bills to 27-24 win. It's the Bills' first road playoff win in over 3 decades. Buffalo now will travel to Denver to face the one-seeded Broncos at Mile High this Saturday. And in Foxborough last night, the Patriots smothered the Chargers, allowing just 3 points in a 16-3 home win. Drake May threw for 268 yards and a score in his playoff debut. The Patriots host the winner of tonight's game in Pittsburgh as the Steelers face off against the Texans with kickoff at 7:15 on ESPN. And then on Saturday, fourth quarter, lead changes as the Rams get the 34-31 road win over the Panthers. The Rams will travel to Chicago next Sunday to face Caleb Williams and the Bears, who came back from down 18 points to beat the Packers 31-27. And in college, the national championship is set for next Monday. Indiana crushed Oregon on Friday 56-22. They'll face off against Miami in the winner-take-all national championship at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. For all your foundation repair, waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go. Kicking off a brand new week on 104.5 The Zone. Welcome in to Ramon and Will. He is the 11-year NFL veteran involved for life, Ramon Foster. Justin Hawkins playing the hits at the controls. My name is Will Bowling. The number you jump in with is 615-737-1045. We stream it live for you on 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch with a comment section on YouTube. The F&M Bank chat is wide open. So John Harbaugh is taking his sweet time to start interviews, and he's still thinking about the Tennessee Titans. We got some updates on that over the weekend. Of course, the transfer portal is still ablaze. We'll try to put the fire extinguisher on it a little bit with Eric Kane at 8:20. Tyler Dunn at 9:20. And Ramon, super wildcard weekend thoughts throughout the morning because this wildcard weekend really was super.
Yes, it was.
Good morning.
We earned it this weekend, okay? They earned it I was about to say ESPN, Jesus Lord. NFL absolutely put on a show the entire weekend, and I don't think there was a bad game. Each and every one that showed up this weekend. I loved it. Starting with Chicago, God. My good friend who's a Bears fan absolutely was in his bag. Nobody can talk to him right now. That's how bad it is. Nobody can talk to him.
Grating a lot of cheese.
Yes, they
over
are.
The weekend.
How in the world did they get all those cheese graters?
Great question.
That stadium.
Great question, because anywhere that I could conceal that, I'd be a little worried about the collateral damage. About a cheese grater being hidden within my person.
I'm telling you.
I don't know.
I'd always like those. I'd like to ask security inside of those stadiums, man. Do you know this person has a cheese grater, or those green things they were throwing on football fields last year, or those green things? You remember those
basketball courts? Yeah,
basketball
WNBA
courts.
To be specific.
Nissan got one.
Oh yeah, maybe
it sure did. It sure did. Or the catfish that they never let Savage throw on the hockey rink here, too. Savage, you got to get it at some point. I see he's in our YouTube chat. Ron Slay.
Bright and early.
It's bright and early. Must be in the airport right now. Either way, all I'm saying is this. Great football.
Well, we begin this morning with the latest on John Harbaugh, who Diana Rossini says was watching Cam Ward film over the weekend. The Athletic NFL insider Diana Rossini writes on Twitter, at DM Rossini, John Harbaugh is spending today, this was yesterday, and the next few days watching film specifically on quarterbacks Jackson Dart and Cam Ward. He's also been in contact with team decision makers while continuing to communicate with potential members of his own coaching staff. How significant is it, Ramon, that John Harbaugh's watching Cam Ward film, maybe back-to-back with Jackson Dart film, comparing the two over the weekend?
Very significant. One, it shows us his mindset. I think that's the most important part of it all is he's choosing to watch these two young quarterbacks, which lets me think of him. He's into development. He's into rebuilding. He's into seeing what kind of talent each one of these guys possess. I think it bodes well for the Titans. One, to even have that information out there, but specifically as far as what a guy like him thinks of your franchise. I mean, I know it's up against the Giants in a sense, but it's Cam Ward and Jackson Dart who he's choosing to watch for. And that's what I was going to say. Are you hoping that the Giants lose that film race right there?
Jonathan Jones of CBS had an in-depth piece at cbssports.com about what is next for Harbaugh, his priorities through the whole process, writing that he will soon put together his interview schedule for the week. Sources from multiple teams say they are proceeding with their own searches, but are waiting to hear from Harbaugh so that they can work around his schedule. Here's the interesting part. Two sources tell CBS Sports' Jonathan Jones on interested teams. So two sources on teams that are interested in Harbaugh. Their belief is Harbaugh's top choices among the vacant jobs are the New York Giants and Atlanta Falcons in some order. Those sources added the Tennessee Titans are in third place, while a third different source said there is real and mutual interest between Harbaugh and the Cleveland Browns. Any surprises there in his top four, which appear to be, in some kind of order, Giants, Falcons, Titans, Browns?
Browns kind of intrigues me just on the fact that it's interdivision like that. Quarterback situation I don't think is as settled as it needs to be, and just
it's totally unsettled.
Completely just the front office involvement. Like that to me doesn't scream Harbaugh wants to be a part of it, other than I think his family attachment is what a lot of people correlate.
Grew up cheering for him.
Yeah, he grew up cheering for him. Most times those don't work in those situations right there for the hometown. And again, I say just the dysfunction that they've had. Like they've had settling coaches years after year after year. Heck, Stefanski to me was about as calm of a coach that you could have asked Cleveland to possess as far as leading their team moving forward, and they somewhat botched that. I'm not sure how he would feel about Andrew Berry trading away a guy's quarterback or a coach's quarterback midway through the season. Whether that was true, whether they were on the same page with Flacco or not.
Flacco, yeah.
Yeah, the Joe Flacco trade. You just don't handcuff a coach like that. So we'll see what it's like moving forward, but I'm shocked that Cleveland's on there. The Falcons situation is the exact same thing to me. You have Kirk Cousins, but Michael Penix Jr. is also coming off an ACL. It looks to me, by watching Cam Ward on the sideline in Miami games, the shoulder may not need surgery. This may be a rehab. I didn't see him in a sling in the game that when they showed him on TV and stuff like that. So that points in a good direction for him. I think it's Giants. I think it's Titans, kind of the way I view that one.
I'm a little surprised the Dolphins aren't one of these teams that are reported there, because we know Stephen Ross, the owner, is a quote-unquote Michigan man. And if anybody's going to go all in for John Harbaugh, it sounds like Miami would be one of them. Here's the other thing I think is interesting here. Jonathan Jones kind of debunks one of the general lines of thinking that Harbaugh's going to need to be won over with a lot of perks. Jonathan Jones writes, reports of Harbaugh's demands are inaccurate, according to a source with knowledge. Harbaugh will command a high salary based simply off his resume, and some level of roster say is inherent in attracting a coach of that caliber. But a demand of $20 million in salary and full roster control are not required to land Harbaugh's services. To me, this comes down to which quarterback situation gives me the most security. Because there has been instability, Ramon, in all of these franchises. And I think locally, this fan base and the people that are around this fan base will think, oh, well, coach has been so unstable and decisions are made quickly. You're not any dissimilar from the other teams that have openings in that regard. Now, the Giants maybe have had a little bit more stability with Brian Daboll and Joe Shane, but that's over now. The Atlanta Falcons have had no stability whatsoever in terms of their quarterback position or their head coach. All of these teams have been unstable and have had constant change. You're not special in that regard. When it pertains to the Falcons, the Browns, and the New York Giants being your peers, to me, Ramon, it comes down to which quarterback do you believe more in, or which quarterback situation do you believe most in. I have a hard time believing that any of those other teams are in a better position than the Titans are in with Cam Ward.
It's the same way I feel about it. I actually push Atlanta down a little bit more, too. Like, I like Matt Ryan, the quarterback, but he's also been hired as president of football operations also.
And we don't know what that relationship is like between John Harbaugh and Matt Ryan, the two guys that never worked together.
Not to say that I think the world of Matt Ryan, to be quite honest, which I think he's a really good quarterback. He looks as if he's smart and know the game too. I just, as a executive, which is the role he's playing right now, how much can you trust a guy in that situation? Now, I say that, and there's John Lynch is also a former player who's an executive now too. So it can work out. Maybe that's just what they need. I just felt like Atlanta, with making that hire, making Matt Ryan the president of football operations, just, I don't know. It seems lightly unserious because there should be somebody else in that position that understands the game a little bit more, but I don't know the mind of Matt Ryan when it comes down to him making those type of decisions. I do view this one, as far as Borgonzi's concerned, as far as Cam Ward's concerned, that he's got the ability, if John Harbaugh seriously considering this, it seems more stable than what the rest of them got. Personally, with Jackson Dart, the way he plays football at times, it seems to be a lot of teaching. I feel like Cam's teaching is more technique. Jackson Dart's is a little bit just erratic play that, he's had good fortune. It's just what I'll say about some of the plays that he's had as of late.
We will talk more about that in hour 2 this morning, and I want to compare the rookie stat lines, the rookie seasons, the better quarterback situation for John Harbaugh between Cam Ward and Jackson Dart. So we will get back to that coming up at 7:20 this morning. Your phone calls at 615-737-1045, live for the 1045 The Zone Circus Sports Studio. Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circus Sports at Kentucky Downs. We give you full Wildcard weekend reaction. 5 games to talk about coming up next. Ramona Willow, 1045, The Zone. Hour number 1 of a brand new week is off and running. Wildcard weekend gave us a lot to talk about. Here's the thing, Ramona. Here's my problem this morning.
What's that?
Because I always got a problem. Well, A, it's too cold outside. Here's my second problem.
Start there first.
Yeah, let's just get that one out of the way first. Today is the day where we're going to view everything within the context of which quarterbacks made throws and which ones didn't.
It was.
In the fourth quarter. Now, some of those are worthy of being critiqued and worthy of being discussed. Mm-hmm. Can we not today just view everything in terms of quarterback narratives and storylines? We just do this as NFL people. I don't mean us. I mean everyone. Yeah. As NFL people. Josh Allen finally won a play. Trey White made a great play on the last drive of the game.
Yeah, he did.
Trevor Lawrence and Justin Herbert, they just can't do it. Well, some of their defenses did make plays, and then other ones didn't make any plays.
Very much so.
And Deion Henley had a fumble 6 yesterday against Drake May that would have changed the narrative until Jared Wilson, a guard who's nobody's going to talk about today.
Talk about him, Will.
Recovered a fumble. Am I too impatient on this, or let's ask it this way: which quarterbacks deserve praise or criticism this morning?
It's the beast that feeds, Will, is what it is. It's the quarterbacks. Which quarterbacks deserve praise? I got to give it up to Caleb. Essentially, I feel like more than anything, I thought
Caleb Williams.
Yeah. I didn't necessarily think Brock Purdy showed the way you needed him to. He did, but I mean, it's the Juwan Jennings double reverse pass that really took them over the top to Christian McCaffrey. So in those
Blackman
games,
high school quarterback Juwan Jennings.
That's what I
reminded us of his high school history.
I did. At the time he threw the touchdown, I said, "Oh, he played quarterback in high school." It's like that's why
you did the Leonardo DiCaprio meme, pointing at the TV.
I pointed at former quarterback. Yeah. But your point is very valid in how you say we're going to view these matchups right here. Because, again, you look at what the Panthers could have done, 40-plus passes from Bryce Young. I didn't think it was great play by Stafford. I thought it was good. I think, to me, the biggest highlight of all of this entire weekend, if we're minimizing what the quarterbacks were, is defense. I thought the highlight of the weekend was defense, the way Chicago was able to stay close and kicking.
Yeah.
It was a lot of doinks this past weekend, too, man, when you look at the games that kind of unfolded in certain ways, not in their favor. But, I mean, you had Jacksonville's kicker missing the field goal before halftime.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that, yes. But I was more interested in watching these defenses. Defenses, I felt, even though a lot of points were given up, they were very opportunistic when they had to be, especially in that game last night, the Patriots. That's all that was defense versus the Chargers.
Let's start with Bills and Jaguars and discuss the local tie here, obviously, with the Jags being the AFC South representative that was playing over the weekend. Josh Allen deserves all the praise in the way that he played this game. 28 of 35, 80% completion, 273 yards, 7.8 yards per attempt, a touchdown for a passer rating of 108.7. He also had 11 carries for 33 yards. About 12 of those yards came on a quarterback sneak late in the game. Two rushing touchdowns for him as well.
Which I don't agree with that quarterback sneak.
Okay, why is that?
I personally do not. The quarterback sneak is supposed to be push, however you want to do it, for 2-3 yards at a time. Now, I will say I don't agree with it, but it's also on the defense to stop those situations. So if you're the Jaguars, they were able to lift him up when it looked like it was stopped, and the play continued on. I think that play mentally for defensive players is meant to be 3 seconds max. They carried him through the air, and I'm just like, at some point I thought that the referees would blow it dead, but I guess momentum never stopped. I saw them carrying him through the air like he was the Pope, and I was just thinking to myself, like, I didn't think that was right. But it's football. Stop the momentum is what you're paid to do, and they did not in that moment.
You had Jaguars defensive backs like giving up on the play.
Yeah. That in itself is it shows to me the immaturity of a team going into the playoffs, not understanding that every play means a lot.
Yeah,
I think that to me is also the side story too, is teams that understand how to play in these matchups. I think the same thing about how the Rams and Carolina game went. Like, the Rams had a clutch gene, essentially, into figuring out how to win a football game. And I feel like as many times as Buffalo's been in it as of late, the Rams both, they understand it's never over until it's over. Any chance you can get to get one over on your opponent, you do it. And I felt like that little tush-push Pope ride that Josh Allen had was that in itself.
Pope ride's crazy.
I sided with the defense on that one. Just like, oh, y'all just going to let the momentum just push and continue to move forward?
Well, stop them then.
That's the point, I guess, that I need to realize, too, is stop them, Jacksonville. Not that I wanted Jacksonville to win. I was just looking at that play like y'all really gave up.
I mean, they literally had a safety, like mad, walking away from the play as the play was still happening at the end of that push.
Maybe I'm mad at the lack of just discipline that Jacksonville had on that
probably.
play. Yeah, but go ahead, though. But, yeah, that tush push was crazy.
I mean, honestly, this game went about how I expected. Jacksonville was able to run the ball against Buffalo's porous run defense. Meanwhile, Buffalo was not able to consistently run it against Jacksonville. Expected Trevor Lawrence to be able to hurt Buffalo with his legs. He did in this game, but turnovers. The equalizer. Trevor Lawrence interception late in this game that sealed it. Jacksonville's top two backs averaged 8.4 yards per carry in this game. They played keep away. It really kind of fit the script, Ramon, of what they wanted this game to look like, but 2 interceptions and a turnover on downs is all that Buffalo's defense had to force in order to steal this. It is their first road playoff win for Buffalo since 1992.
That's big time for them. And on top of that, too, you like the analytics that go into games, I get it. But that turnover on downs that you speak of, they were on like that plus 3-yard line, 4-yard line, and Trevor Lawrence decided to keep and ended up getting touched down before the first down marker or whatever. I thought in that point that was a lack of understanding of the playoffs. You take the points, Will, in that situation right there. Knowing that defense was getting tighter as you got closer to the end zone, that to me is where, I mean, obviously, that's the difference in 3 points. They lost the game 27-24. Not that it would have gone into overtime at that moment, but I ain't going to say they took points off the board, but the importance of putting points up was lost in Liam Cohen's decision-making right there, and I get it. Trevor Lawrence is a big quarterback. He's a big runner, but the playoffs are truly different. You take those points in that moment right there.
I agree. Josh Allen, I think, deserved all the praise for the way that he played in this game. 9 of 12 under pressure for 144 yards.
And he got beat up bad.
NFL research. He did. He hit his hand. He hit his head.
Hit his knee.
Everything.
Yeah.
We oversimplify playoff games sometimes, Ramon, to just create narratives about quarterbacks. It's not always about quarterbacks. There's 21 other guys that start, and there's also the special teams aspect that you mentioned. That being said, this was a Josh Allen narrative game that he spun positively.
Yeah.
He finally won a road playoff game. Yeah. His team finally won a road playoff game as well, and he was the central reason why. My question is, can they continue playing like this and relying so much on him to be so good in games like this when they can't run the football in order to go on a long enough winning streak to finally hoist a Lombardi trophy?
No, it's not sustainable.
They've got to be able to run the ball better than they did yesterday.
And he needs one more big weapon. Keon Coleman, the second-year player for him, I thought was going to be a big upgrade in weapon for him. He's barely showing up, but he had a streak down the sideline. He was wide open on the broken coverage that was there. I think there are more weapons that Josh Allen needs. And I know a lot of people probably push back and say, well, he's got weapons. Not the way if you look at what Trevor Lawrence has for his team. Like Parker Washington has turned into a stud. We're talking about Brian Thomas Jr. right now. That's just a compliment for the way they're running. Running the offense. And he's got 2 running backs on top of himself. Like
Khalil Shakir is the main wide receiver target in Buffalo.
Yeah.
A really good wide receiver, too.
Yes. And it's, in my personal opinion, it's not sustainable. His offensive line, too, Josh Allen's, got to protect him just a little bit more. He's
been a bit shakier this season.
He's getting hit more than just his scrambling. Mm-hmm. He's in the pocket and getting pushed back, and maybe they're at that point. Deion Dawkins, I know, is his left tackle, been in for a little while himself. Like, they got to figure out a way to keep him more sturdy in the pocket if they're going to push forward with this, because I think they're a next-round Dunn team if he don't become a magician again.
49ers 23, Eagles 19. This one really surprised me. The Eagles, on their first 3 possessions, had 182 yards and 14 points. Their offense looked great, despite the fact that the 49ers offense marched right down the field in their opening script as well. And then in the second half, just 2 field goals for Philadelphia. Saquon did his job. Saquon Barkley, 131 total yards. A.J. Brown really didn't. 3 catches for 25, a horrible fourth quarter drop.
Oh, my gosh.
What surprised you the most about Philadelphia's inability to defend its home turf against San Francisco yesterday?
Their inability with the weapons that they have offensively to consistently be a threat to an opposing team. All that to say is their play calling is not good. Their use of their weapons, in my personal opinion, not good. You mentioned Saquon. Saquon is awesome with what he's doing with the ball on the ground, but their inability to draw up plays for Devontae consistently get A.J. Brown involved in this game. Dallas Goedert was there at times, but like those two should always have the ability to create. I thought A.J.'s first catch he had in the game was like a 10-yard comeback. By the way, I was watching the game yesterday with a buddy who's a Titans fan, and I'm looking at A.J. catch the ball, and like I watched A.J. here, but didn't pay attention to a lot of stuff that people disliked about A.J. A.J. Brown would catch the ball on the comeback and go an extra 2.5, 3 yards out of bounds, losing yards. I didn't like that from him. I'm thinking about A.J. like, that's an 8-yard catch. You just made it a 5. He goes backwards often. Their dynamic of what they have as a team can't last. Somebody's got to go. Is the way I view them.
I think it might be him.
The emotions and how they're running that team right now is dumb.
Well, and 2, you can't sulk on the sideline and then go back out there in the fourth quarter on the game-losing drive and drop a football.
It's weird to me, man. Defensively, I feel like teams aren't scared of them as much either now. They're running directly into the teeth of that. They don't care with what they got going on.
Yeah, I think was it Jalen Carter who was banged up at one point in this game too?
Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis.
Guy. Yeah.
They're not afraid of what Philly is anymore, in my personal opinion.
Well, and two
nice.
Quinyon Mitchell interceptions was the only really threat the defense had. Weren't able to create enough for their offense that was just so lackluster this year. I mean, that you can only get so far only being able to win one kind of football game.
Right.
And that was always my concern with Philadelphia, that eventually the only games that they really consistently won this year were 13-12, 16-14, 21-20, like those types of scores. And you think back to the game they had in the snow against Buffalo, that was a 13-12 type of game. How about Demarcus Robinson, though, for San Francisco?
Yeah.
Only had 276 yards all season on 22 catches. He had 6 for 111 and a touchdown.
Worked them safeties
in this game. That was my concern for San Francisco. It's why I felt so confident on Philly was I just don't know who the weapons are that are totally healthy for San Fran. You hate the injury that happened to George Kittle. It was kind of like when Kevin Durant had his injury for I guess what would that have been? Golden State? Or was he still at Oklahoma State?
Yeah, it was Golden State.
I don't know. You know, I'm an NBA expert. When Kevin Durant had his very famous on national television Achilles injury in the postseason, you just kind of immediately knew. I think that will eventually catch up to San Fran again. But for this game, it didn't, because Brock Purdy, despite some big mistakes, made enough plays. And that offense is just built so well to where you can make a few mistakes. You could have 1 or 2 guys get hurt, but Trent Williams being a back at left tackle is worth 2 or 3 players.
Yes, it was.
And he is the kind of left tackle that can get away with a couple of holding calls as well, as he did on the game-winning touchdown throw.
Turn the blind eye,
from Brock Purdy in this game. I love watching Brock Purdy. He is the epitome of sneaky athletic, and I enjoy watching him play quarterback.
He's the epitome of sneaky athletic. I love that.
Greg Olsen just kept saying it. No, it wasn't Greg Olsen. It was Tom Brady. Tom Brady just kept saying it.
He did.
Like, oh, you don't think he can make these plays? He's so sneaky in his athleticism.
Also, to add to, watching one quarterback versus the other, I do feel like there's a point where a coordinator needs to be brought in to encourage Jalen Hurts. brother, you got to use them legs a little bit often.
Well,
he's an athlete. Like, to sneaky athletic, we know what Jalen Hurts possesses. I feel like every time I've watched him in crunch situations this year, the Eagles, they don't start utilizing his legs until they get tight. And that can't be the case for them because, again, I know they're trying to create for the wide receivers and all the skill players that they have, but legitimately, like, you open more up. And I feel like they close themselves off with how they're trying to force the ball to AJ instead of just utilizing Jalen Hurts' legs in these moments right here.
Yeah, he's got to be more decisive. We talked about this with Cam Ward, too.
Yeah.
He's got to be more decisive when he decides to run because, for me, he's running into pressure a lot.
All the time.
He'll run out of a clean pocket and into pressure. And it feels like that offensive line's lack of quality this year had him kind of seeing ghosts a little bit.
It did.
He felt like he had to do more off script and scrambling out of the pocket that I think he would feel pressure when really he had clean pockets.
It was. And you just one more thing. So you mentioned, what's his name, Demarcus Robinson. They put him in almost unknown wide receiver up against Reed Blankenship, and it did not go well for him. Just in general, the back half of that secondary lost him time and time again on plays in which Brock Purdy was surgical in delivering the football to him. Brock Purdy may have got embarrassed against that Seattle defense, but this game right here, they came correct, and that was the adjustment I guess they needed in losing the division over there.
Let's go to the phone, 615-737-1045. Marcus is in Nashville first up.
Morning, Marcus.
Man, out here flexing, you know what I'm saying? Amazon flexing all the way in Clarksville.
Oh.
Took me an hour and a half to get out here this morning. But listen, y'all, seeing AJ argue with the coach yesterday and seeing how they don't utilize that dude, dog. I know he's dropped a couple passes, but dude, usually he does his thing, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't on the field excuses. But I'm like, we talking about Harbaugh, and we need to bring AJ back. Bring him back. Bring him back to Nashville. I think that'll be a great thing, man.
We'll
you probably can get them cheaper now than you left them with. So,
we'll see because the thing that AJ I think showed up to Marcus when it comes down to AJ still had those. Like I said, we were watching the game yesterday. The question about his knees, even though he shows up at times, every time he hits the ground, he's rubbing them. You know, those were allegedly the reasons why you moved on from A.J. Brown here, according to John Robinson and folks that were around him, was he has chronic knee issues and eventually will catch up. Like, it hadn't really caught up in Philly like that, but every time he hits the ground, it seems like there's an issue. So you don't know when that's going to become a bigger issue. Can A.J. still play? Absolutely.
No doubt.
At what cost it's going to cost whoever in free agency? Here's the thing.
Well, he's not a free agent.
I know. That's what I was just about to say.
That's the point.
It's going to cost you some picks.
Yeah, I'm good.
And Marcus, I think your point is right, but I just don't see Mike Bergonzi giving up draft picks for
Nor should he.
AJ.
I'd rather go draft the next AJ Brown.
Just to settle your mind on that one.
No, yeah, let's go draft another one.
Yeah.
Let's go create another AJ Brown that we can find in the draft that's going to also be paid, what, $4 or $5 million versus 25 to 30.
I think that's the balance and demon that Jalen Hurts is trying to fight. Does he go to Devontae and other weapons, or does he try to appease to what AJ wants? Like, that's what you get with a diva wide receiver. And I say that as a term of endearment, not as a disrespectful point. He's a diva.
Let's go to Joe the Trucker. What's up, Joe?
What's going on, guys? How you doing this morning?
Great,
Good morning.
I'm in Missouri. I'm on I-70, but the question I have is there's a trend going around right now in the NFL that I can't really understand. There's tons of rumors around like John Harbaugh, not John Harbaugh, Mike Tomlin and the Green Bay Packers head coach,
LaFleur.
what's his name? LaFleur, yeah. Like, these guys are getting fired, because they lost, in the first round of the playoffs. I thought that was the goal, was to get to the playoffs, right? Like, why is it that all of a sudden now these guys are getting the playoffs and they're getting fired? You know what I mean? Like, what's the new bottom, I guess is what I'm asking, right? Like, what do you have to do as a coach? Because that affects what the next coach has to do with the Titans. You know what I mean? Like, if the new bottom is, oh, you have to win a Super Bowl or you get fired, then is that the expectation? You know what I mean? Like what's the, where's the give, I guess is what I'm asking.
Sure.
That's a great question.
Thank you, Joe. His name is Patrick Mahomes.
Yes, he is.
I mean, honestly, to me, that's the reason why you're seeing so many franchises so desperate. Patrick Mahomes has locked a lot of the NFL out of the throne room in the NFL. That's where you got to begin for me.
Yeah. I mean, look at most of the quarterbacks. I mean, you have the question, are they a descendant of Patrick Mahomes and how they play football? How Kansas City was able to do it numerous times and knock off Tom Brady and the Patriots. Yeah, I do think that's a part of it too. The other part too, Joe, in my personal opinion, is watching new hot coaches come into the league and win quickly also. Ben
Sean
Johnson.
McVay, Kyle Shanahan, Ben Johnson.
The Texas coach.
DeMeco
Ryans. Like, all of them have come into the league and have done this too. So everybody's looking for that new long-term coach that's capable of doing those things. I think that's Mike McDaniel. That was the hope for him in Miami before he got let go.
Yeah. I'm with you. 615-737-1045. Speaking of the Packers, we'll talk more about them next because they lost Saturday in a game they had no business losing. And Matt LaFleur may be a candidate for the Titans later today or tomorrow or this week, but he made some really bad decisions in this game on Saturday night. We'll tell you what we mean by that coming up next. This month in January, we love making resolutions, and we hope that they stick as we are cleaning and purging. Why don't you take the best care of your home and get things as clean as possible with Zero Res? Hey, it's Will Bowling. January is that time. We clean, we eat cleaner, we exercise more. Well, why shouldn't we do the same in our homes? Zero Res is going to make a big difference because they've got the science behind ZR water that is different in a good way. It's much healthier than using soaps and detergents to clean. Zero Res offers you a smarter, lasting clean. There's no harsh chemicals. There's no soap residue. You get faster dry times, and things are going to stay cleaner longer. I'm telling you guys, you're going to love this. ZeroResNashville.com. Zero, R-E-Z, Nashville.com. The phone number is 615-535-9376. Facebook reviews are great. The Google reviews, check them out. 98% recommend Zero Res. Call them at 615-535-9376. Have them out. Clean the carpets, the house. You're going to love the way things look and feel. That's Zero Res. Spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean. And don't forget to ask about their air duct cleaning. Wrapping up hour number 1 on Monday mornings from Moan and Will. There is a situation unfolding in Green Bay. Going to give you the details. Why in the world is Matt LaFleur on a little bit of a warm seat? I'm going to tell you why coming up in 15 minutes. And why that could be very good news for the Tennessee Titans. We'll get to phone calls in just a moment. But first, Ramon.
Yes, sir.
Bears 31, Packers 27. Did someone rip out the run plays in Matt LaFleur's playbook?
Yeah, they did.
On the final, 4 drives in this game? The Packers, with a lead in the third quarter of a road playoff game, ran the ball 3 times in the third quarter.
Ridiculous.
3 times. Went 3 and out on 3 of their first 4 possessions in the second half. The Green Bay Packers held the ball for 5:22, despite having 3 possessions in the third quarter alone. And then they threw it on 3rd and long on the last possession, leaving 40 more seconds at least for Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. Ramon, Matt LaFleur played with his food, and it got burnt.
Yeah, it did.
It got old. It got spoiled. And Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears took advantage to the tune of an epic comeback win, 31-27 over the Packers.
25 points in the fourth quarter. That doesn't happen. And you got to give it up to Ben Johnson also for taking the points when he needed to. Take the kicks. It's all right. Just keep chipping away. The lack of running from Green Bay to me was flagrant as a head coach. You got the bodies to do it. More than anything, just milk the clock, right? That's what you're asking yourself to do. In these situations, I know Jordan Love started off the first half hot, but 46 passing attempts in a game like that where you didn't have to. Here's the hilarious part of it. Caleb Williams threw it for 48 times. You have Jordan Love throwing it for 46. The issue I have with that is Chicago was up 21-3. It should have been handoff, toss, maybe a screen. Mm-hmm. But the fact that they were still trying to go down the field to embarrass him, I'll be honest with you. I know a lot of people got an issue with, I think Dick Vitale wrote an article on how Ben Johnson shook the hand of Matt LaFleur going into it. He should have disrespected him like that. I'll be quite honest with you. When you
those
lose,
two don't like each other.
I know. When you lose a game like that, and you are up 21-0 in a playoff situation, you got everything going in your direction. Your quarterback's on fire in that moment. You still continue to throw him 46 times in the game. That shows you all that you need to know. And here's the thing. It wasn't like Chicago was creeping back over the course of the game. They got 0 points in the second quarter. And was there only 3 in the third? There was absolutely zero reason for them. And then again, you got a defense that was also getting after Caleb too. It wasn't like it was not set up for you to have support. The support you had was on the defensive side of the ball, and they played well. Caleb, for a little while, looked lost until he started darting you down the field.
It's crazy how Caleb Williams, by the way, has passed BC calculus, but at times can't do algebra. He will miss the easiest throws. Then he'll do the freaking Air Jordan silhouette as he's fading away.
Get knocked out of the air.
25 yards down the field, just throw a dot.
Yeah, he did.
It's unbelievable. 7 fourth-quarter comebacks for Caleb Williams this season, including the playoffs. That is the most in a season by any quarterback under the age of 25 in NFL history. Also finished with the most passing yards in a playoff debut at 361 since Matthew Stafford in the 2011 Wildcard game at New Orleans. He had 380.
And still wasn't a great game. In total, it was a great finish. He created one of the best moments for a second-year quarterback I think we've seen in a while. Patrick Mahomes has been in this conversation, but the weight of this game had been a playoff game. It had been a division playoff game on top of it. And it's at home with the Bears fans just stayed around and just partied. That, and down 18 points. This is the Falcons.
Yeah.
This is the Falcons and Patriots in the Super Bowl. I'm happy for Caleb because, again, he's gone about this in a way in which he's just playing his part. And I think we all may have to shift our mind into thinking that every quarterback has to be the Brady, the Breeze, the Manning era, that all you need is big moments right here. These guys, even Jordan Love didn't have a great game statistically. He's got good touchdowns and he played well in the first half, but he looked lost in himself too.
We've got to have an open mind that new postseason heroes will emerge.
Yeah.
That more good players can become good postseason players in real time because There's a whole generation of quarterbacks that's not playing anymore. I am happy for Caleb because I feel like people just speak in terms of narratives on him.
Mm-hmm.
They like to just let the story of what he acts like, the attention, the pressure on him kind of be more than what actually is unfolding in front of their eyes, which is a young quarterback learning how to be a pro and playing really well. And I don't know if people just hate him because he carries himself a bit differently, because he had Mahomes level expectations around him. Maybe they just don't like USC and where he went to school. I don't know. But like, watch the games. Watch who this guy is. He is so fun to watch play football. The kid's a baller in between the white lines. That's all I really care about. And that was a really fun game to watch, in part because the guy was making some high-level throws.
And I got to give it to him, too. He'll give himself up for the betterment of the team. He's stretching and running for first downs in situations, too.
The guy wants to win.
I know.
It's not all about him.
The big conversation is his painted fingernails and stuff like that, which is also done for a purpose, right? It's done for suicide prevention and awareness is why he put those messages on his fingernails, though, too. And I can get a lot of people, masculine alpha males, don't like that type of stuff. Play football against him. Okay, like he's showing that right now. Like he's got that grit that you want in the quarterback.
He can play.
He can play.
Yeah.
Like, again, he's running the football and making plays with his legs, and also he's got a cannon of an arm, dude.
Absolutely.
And he's respectfully giving the ball to the players, to his wide receivers, and how they need it. Colston Loveland this past weekend.
He's going to be really good.
They took advantage of Green Bay lack of linebacker play, and their secondary, I guess, just getting ate up.
There were two other games to react to. Patriots getting the win over the Chargers. The Rams over the Panthers. We'll react more to that in hour two. We'll get to Eric on the phone, 615-737-1045. And look at why Matt LaFleur may be in trouble as the head coach of the Green Bay Packers and what that could mean for the Titans next.
7:01, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mid-Kentucky Down studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. There were 12 fourth-quarter lead changes across 5 wildcard playoff games this weekend, starting in Jacksonville, where Josh Allen threw for 273 yards and 3 total touchdowns, leading the Bills to a 27-24 road win in Jacksonville. It's the Bills' first road playoff win in over 3 decades. Buffalo now will travel to Denver to face the 1-seeded Broncos at Mile High this Saturday. The 49ers beat the defending champions Eagles 23-19. Brock Purdy threw for 262 yards and 2 touchdowns, but the 49ers lost star tight end George Kittle with a torn Achilles. The 49ers now will face off against the NFC West rival and number 1 seed Seattle Seahawks this Saturday in Seattle. In Foxborough last night, the Patriots smothered the Chargers, allowing just 3 points in a 16-3 home win. Drake May threw for 268 yards and a score. In his playoff debut, the Patriots will host the winner of tonight's game in Pittsburgh as the Steelers face off against the Texans, with kickoff at 7:15 on ESPN. And then on Saturday, it was 4 fourth-quarter lead changes for the Rams and the Panthers as the Rams get the 34-31 road win. The Rams will travel to Chicago next Sunday to face Caleb Williams and the Bears, who came back from down 18 points to beat the Packers 31-27. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once in your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hour number 2 on this Reaction Monday wildcard weekend, mostly in the books, with the Texans and Steelers still to play tonight. More on that as the show continues. We've got Vols transfer portal discussion with Eric Kane coming up at 8:20. At 9:20, Tyler Dunn, golongtd.com, covering the Buffalo Bills, covering the Green Bay Packers, covering the whole league, will talk to us about some of the Packers candidates as it pertains to the Titans search. Ramon, yesterday, Matt LaFleur, after a weekend loss to the Chicago Bears, said he talked briefly with Packers president Ed Policy on the plane a couple nights ago and implies conversations about his future will happen in the near future. It's Matt Schneidman of The Athletic who wrote that on Twitter yesterday. Matt LaFleur is 37-30-1 over the past 4 regular seasons and has only won 1 of 5 playoff games. Is it crazy if the Packers move on from Matt LaFleur, and should the Titans be interested if they do?
If they move on from, should the Titans be interested? Very much so, especially looking at how the Harbaugh situation could unfold. 1-5 in your last playoff run, that kind of jumps out, well, more than anything, especially when you the way you lost to an in-division rival this past weekend, that right there hurts you a bit. Looking at what Dan Campbell is capable of doing, you also look at what Minnesota has in front of them, too, if they can ever get the quarterback and health aligned at the same time. His issue is just that. The other coaches in his division seem very much more ahead of where he was at that same period in time in their coaching careers. And it seems, I'll be quite honest with you, more competitive, more fun, more concise. And injuries, losing Micah Parsons doesn't help you, in these type of situations. But he seems to me to be the lame duck of the division, and it kind of causes you to side-eye him and what his plan is moving forward. How much better does Matt LaFleur get in that division? I ain't going to say he need a reset as far as firing him, but the way I view, of course, Ben Johnson, an embarrassment. They've lost. That division is hot right now with how the coaches are and the way the teams are being built, and his seems to always have a slide. And he's got a franchise quarterback with the most experience other than Jared Goff in that division.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting situation because they just blew games consistently this year. They're the first team, according to ESPN Insights, since the 1970 merger to lose 3 games when leading by 10-plus points in the final 5 minutes of a season, or the final 5 minutes of the game, including the playoffs. They did that 3 times this year. Double-digit leads in the last 5 minutes of a game, erased, including over the weekend against the Chicago Bears. Rob Domofsky wrote about this at ESPN.com. So Brian Gutekunst, the GM, and Matt LaFleur, the head coach, are not a package deal. Both of their contracts are set to expire after the 2026 seasons. Matt LaFleur is seen to be coaching at a little bit of a bargain. He could sign a big long-term extension. He may not be at the John Harbaugh number of $20 million a year, but reportedly it is believed that he is making less than $10 million a year right now. They've got to make a decision on him, and that's why and Ed Policy, the Packers president, has come out and said, we don't really want a lame duck GM or coach. All right, well, that means that you've got a big decision to make in the present on whether or not you want Matt LaFleur to go into 2026 coaching on the last year of his deal. Are you willing to give him an extension with the way things have ended? Again, 37-30-1 over the past 4 regular seasons. Has he really earned a big raise? Who are you negotiating against? I mean, because there are other teams that I think would be interested.
Yeah.
I think the Titans would absolutely be interested and should. With the connection between him and Chad Brinker, with the connection to him and his franchise, having worked here as offensive coordinator back in 2018 for Mike Vrabel, I think Matt LaFleur would make a ton of sense, and I would have loved to have seen what that team could have looked like with a healthy Micah Parsons down the stretch this year.
No doubt. To your point about closing out and finishing the games, though, too, this is from Matt Schneidman. He's a You just read that?
Him a minute ago.
Yeah, so the Packers had a 10-point lead in Cleveland, lost that one. This year, they led by 13 in Dallas. They tied in overtime. That was a Micah Parsons game right there. They tied that one. Led by 9 in Denver, and they lost that one. Led by 10 in Chicago the first time. Lost that one the second time. They can't close.
They're the first team since 1970s, what I just read, to lose 3 games when leading by 10-plus points in the final 5 minutes.
How? So that's why the question. I think it was Joe the trucker that called in and said, "Why is getting to the playoffs not sufficient enough?"
For Green Bay, it's because they keep blowing leads.
You lose like this, like it becomes more than just losing. It's the embarrassment. It almost seems to me where coaches get criticized for you're losing the team, or your team isn't focused, or your team is in a situation where you're not preparing them. What are you doing wrong? And for an entire season of this to happen, you do look outside the room and say, is there a better fitting option for what you have in place that can get your team over the top? I almost feel about this, not necessarily in the same sense, but I almost feel like Mark Jackson and Steve Kerr to the Warriors. Mark Jackson put defense in them, right? Or he had a team and structure together. Then you had to bring Steve Kerr.
The Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, the Golden State Warriors. Yeah, right. And Steve Kerr was the coach to take them over the top. The foundation has been built by LaFleur. I think he's a good coach. I think Jordan Love can play a lot of good football for him, and the defense I don't think is going anywhere. Also, you have on the other side Rashawn Gary, sack numbers fall off whenever Micah Parsons goes out. There's a lot that goes into it, but you also got to have your team prepared for these type of situations.
Let's go to the phones. Eric is in Nashville, 615-737-1045. What's up, Eric?
What's up, Eric?
Happy Monday, guys.
You too.
Hey, there's 2 playoff games I want to talk about, and I'm going to get to the Green Bay game last, but as far as the Philadelphia game against the 49ers, guys, I'm going to tell you what, guys, I don't know if you agree with me or not. I have never bought in as Nick Sirianni being this great coach because they want to compare him to all this stuff, other coaches and stuff. But I just look at when Shane Steichen was there, when they went to the Super Bowl, he left, of course, now it's with the Colts, and offense struggled after that. And, of course, Kellen Moore, when they won the Super Bowl last year and he left, and now they're struggling. I'll tell you what, it's just one of the things that kind of turned me off on him, of course, was when he had that press conference and brought in his kids after, I forget the game and what the incident was, where he wouldn't face the grilling by the media, but he had his kids at the press conference, and that kind of turned me off on him. So I've never been bought in on where the Sirianni is all this great coach and everything. I think they've won in spite of him, because yesterday I thought there was another interesting stat. Had the ball 35 minutes, no turnovers, and they still lost. And as far as A.J. Brown, he's not coming back here, guys. I just don't see that happening, guys. And I remember when he first went to Philadelphia, I kind of laughed because, of course, he had the criticism talk about the media here in Nashville, and then he goes to Philadelphia, and that's, quote, still stick out in my mind about him trashing the media here because he was upset about the media here, and then he goes to Philly. I definitely don't think he's finishing his career in Philadelphia. I think he's got, I think, 2 years left on his contract. I don't know where he's going, but I'd be surprised he's back with the Eagles next year. And as far as the Packers guys, they may also be looking at another kicker because he missed 2 field goals and extra point. But you're right about them blowing leads and everything. That Matt LaFleur, for some reason, I don't know why they can't close out games. Certainly not having Micah Parsons didn't help. But I tell you what, I certainly would sign up for him as far as coaches, the way he handles quarterbacks, everything. But you're right. He definitely needs to try and run the ball more. It's just they should not have blown that game Saturday night. Guys, it's always good to talk to you guys. Y'all take care and we'll talk to you.
You too, E.
Thank you.
Be safe. Stay warm.
Appreciate the call. Going to be interesting in Green Bay to see how that goes. And, man, another situation that could totally change the coaching carousel.
Yeah.
Titans are in a good spot here.
Now, most definitely.
I really think there are good candidates. And this was supposed to be a cycle, Ramon, where there weren't a whole lot of great candidates.
Riddle me this, though, too, with the candidates that are available. None of them are perfect. We're also learning that none of these playoff coaches are perfect either. Mm-hmm. You got Sirianni, who's out. You got LaFleur, who's out, that people think highly of. You look at, across this playoff team coaching staffs, like teams have their flaws, coaches have their flaws too. True. If you do go get a Stefanski, let's just say Harbaugh chooses the Giants. Okay. Like, you also got to look at this and say, what's the team makeup? What's the health of your team? And do you believe these coaches will grow? It's not on us to push one candidate versus the other. You almost got to be realistic in what you're asking for.
Well, and 2, who are they hiring on their staff? Because Nick Sirianni without A-level coordinators looks a little bit like what we saw yesterday.
Yeah.
Nick Sirianni with Kellen Moore as offensive coordinator wins a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. To your point about not running Jalen Hurts enough, it's like Dan Orlovsky was listening to our show this morning.
He's a fan.
Because he just tweeted out a few minutes ago, number of times the offensive coordinator ran Jalen Hurts by design, excluding the tush push. In 2024, 96 times. In 2025, 41 times. Yeah. There you go. It's almost like you know what you're talking about.
The threat, man, isn't there? Well, I know a little ball, man.
You know a lot of ball. I'll be honest and take away the sarcasm, so nobody can take what I'm saying out of context.
Yeah, but no, legitimately, that's part of the issues too. And Sirianni may have a little bit too many hands right now, and too much of his touch on this offense. Because who is Kevin Patullo as a play caller in Philly? On paper, that is
about to be probably a former play caller.
Probably about to be a former play caller.
615-737-1045. So over the weekend, reportedly, John Harbaugh was watching Jackson Dart and Cam Ward film to help decide where he is going to go and who he is going to talk to this week in head coach interviews. Which quarterback had a better rookie season and which quarterback situation is better moving forward, Cam Ward or Jackson Dart? We'll give you our thoughts next.
In today's AI world, you can't even trust your own eyes anymore, man. We have to stop and ask often, is this real? Well, you know what is real? Your health and what the experts at Synergex and Low T Center do to change your life. If you've been suffering from the symptoms of low testosterone, such as constant tiredness, lack of focus, or just feeling off, at Synergex and Low T Center, you can meet with a real provider and not a chat bot on a website. You get real medication, never compounded testosterone or hormones, and you get real pricing. Not a surprise when the bill comes from a website. You get real results because Synergex and Low T Center are the experts offering superior medication, service, and support, and they've been doing this for over a decade, and that's real. So guys and ladies, man, get real about your health this year with Synergex and Low T Center. For a limited time, the men's TRT test is free. Women's hormone test is usually $299. Well, now it's $99, and the weight loss consultation is free also. Walk in or book an appointment at getmyhealthfix.com.
Hey, it's Will Boulding. How's your home's heating performing? If it's struggling to keep up, League Company has your back, and unfortunately, you might have just learned this morning that your home's heating system is not doing as well as you'd like for it to. Available 24/7, League Company's award-winning HVAC team will get the job done right. From repairs to tune-ups to full system evaluations and replacements, Lee Company is here to help keep you cozy and comfortable against winter's chill. I woke up this morning, there was a 2 next to the temperature when I got up. You know how much I hate that if you listen to the show, and you probably do too. If your home is not able to keep that cold air outside, make sure you get Lee Company in there to check things out for you. Contact Lee Company online at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com for professional heating service. Lee Company, all you need. So in college football right now, everyone is recruiting experienced quarterbacks and throwing a lot of money at them. Recruiting is normal in college football. Right now in the NFL, instead of transfer portal quarterbacks, it's John Harbaugh. As Ramona Will continues here in hour number 2, your thoughts at 615-737-1045. So, Ramon, we got a little bit more reporting about the John Harbaugh sweepstakes over the weekend. As Diana Rossini wrote on Saturday that John Harbaugh was spending the day and the next few days watching film, specifically on Jackson Dart, New York Giants rookie quarterback, and Cam Ward. She added on Twitter at DM Rossini, he's also been in contact with team decision makers while continuing to communicate with potential members of his own coaching staff. How significant is it that John Harbaugh is willing to take time to watch the cut-ups, watch the highlight film of Cam Ward and Jackson Dart?
It's huge that it's those two that she's reporting about. I think if you're hopeful as a Tennessee Titans fan to have John Harbaugh be your head coach, this is the first step. It's a matter of, what he sees on tape, how they probably react with one another, their ability to make plays. And here's the thing about it. Both Jackson Dart and Cam Ward had significant, acrobatic plays this year, though, too. This is coming from his perspective, seeing what he wants to work with and how he wants to hire offensive coordinator. I think that plays a part into this film watching, too, and who you can maximize. And I'll be quite honest with you, probably control just a little bit more of what looks cleaner. I ain't going to say control. What looks cleaner that you can say, yes, I can fix that. Mm-hmm. Yes, I can work with that moving forward, because it's more than I think just watching the tape. I think it's demeanor. I think it's, play style. I think there's a lot of that goes into can they make plays, because both of those guys, like I said, have made dynamic plays this year where they've made highlights and used their legs. I will say I think Jackson Dart uses legs a little bit more.
A lot more.
Yeah. And if he feel like he can control that, which it was the thing with Lamar, he's already experienced, and Lamar Jackson, he's already experienced that. I guess it kind of points you in the direction of how you want your offense to go, but the same could be said about Cam.
Cam Ward, again, the final stat line for his rookie season, 59.8% completion, 3,169 yards, 5.9 yards per attempt. He had 15 touchdowns to 7 picks, an 80.2 quarterback rating. He was sacked 55 times. Mm. For those unfamiliar with Jackson Dart and his rookie season, he played in 14 games and started 12. He completed 64% of his passes for 2,272 yards. That's 6.7 yards per attempt, nearly a full yard per attempt more than Cam Ward. 15 touchdowns to 5 interceptions, so he equaled Cam's touchdown total in 3 less games. 91.7 quarterback rating is 11 points better than Cam. He took 35 sacks. He had 86 carries for 487 yards and 9 rushing touchdowns. So 24 total touchdowns for Jackson Dart. He left games because of injury in 5 of his first 10 starts. He was evaluated multiple times for concussions, had a significant concussion diagnosed in week 10 after a hard hit and fumble against the Bears. He missed 2 games before clearing protocol, and then again was evaluated in week 15. December the 14th after a big hit against the Commanders. In week 14, he suffered a left ankle sprain but was playing through it. Offensive line issues to Andrew Thomas and John Michael Schmitz complicated things late as well. How big of a red flag are Jackson Dart's injuries, Ramon, if you are putting yourself in John Harbaugh's shoes?
Personally, I don't think it's that much of an issue, just being quite honest with you.
Really?
I do not.
Surprised to hear you say that.
I see under John Harbaugh, I don't think it'll be an issue.
I think it's a big deal.
It can be, but I live by that, the motto, I'd rather say woe than sick 'em. I think that's why I brought up the question of who are you going to ask to be his offensive coordinator, because there are moments in which you can utilize your legs as an offensive coordinator to your quarterback too, but it's a matter, I think the way he played this year was just reckless and he was just young and dumb. I think you can temper that with the expectation, look, we're going to let you run in moments and we're going to set you up to run.
The question is, though, how good is he when you have to temper his running ability? Because part of what makes Jackson Dart is his toughness and his ability to off script, tuck it and run, right?
but it's also exciting to watch, right? But if you can keep him
well,
out
it's exciting
there.
when he's on the field.
When he's on there. So she's just saying, if you can keep him on the field.
It's not exciting when Russell Wilson has to come in.
I don't think that's true too. I don't think in this situation it's a deal breaker if you're watching tape. You just say, I'm going to have to make sure I have a strong enough backup quarterback or grow his mind to where he knows when to slide. Because like you said, he got beat up a lot this year when him trying to run the full. He's not that big as far as him being able to take those. He's not Josh Allen, right? So that's the reason I say close. In asking him and showing him when to get down may be a thing, because there was a couple that he got absolutely obliterated on the sideline to where he doesn't know that in the NFL, if you're still in a running posture, he's going to get knocked over. Like there was a play in which other guys got fined because he got on the sideline and didn't go out. And who was it? I think it was the Bills or may have been the Bills.
Patriots.
Yes, that's who it was. It was the Patriots. He got absolutely knocked into the stands, man. So he's got to understand that.
Flag because it
was because of him.
He was still giving the defense the ability to hit him. I think the Titans could offer John Harbaugh a better quarterback situation than the Baltimore Ravens. Not the Baltimore Ravens, sorry, than the New York Giants. Let me say that again. I think the Titans could offer John Harbaugh a better quarterback situation than the New York Giants. One, I think Cam Ward has a higher ceiling than Jackson Dart does as a thrower. Cam Ward's got to work on his accuracy down the field, but with a cleaner pocket and with more proven commodity receivers that you can go out and find in free agency. One of them was playing yesterday for the 49ers and Jawan Jennings. I think that comes with targets that you can give more of a chance. Like you can underthrow it more to Alec Pierce or Jawan Jennings or any number of players who are going to be available and just give them a shot.
Yeah. And
they can make a play for you. I don't know if Cam had that kind of comfort with his wide receivers this year to just be able to say, I could just put it up there and give him a chance. I think he was trying to be too fine down the field to place it deep down the field and lead guys. I think the other thing is, how encouraged is John Harbaugh to have a similar red flag at quarterback to the one he just left with Lamar Jackson in Baltimore? Because what derailed his 3 losing seasons, 2 of his 3 losing seasons here down the stretch in Baltimore? Injuries to his quarterback. Does John Harbaugh, the guy that just left a guy that doesn't often stay healthy for 17 games at quarterback, really want those problems again? If I'm John Harbaugh, I want a new challenge. I don't want a guy that had to come out injured in 5 of his first 10 starts. We'll see how much that matters to John Harbaugh. To me, I'd rather coach Cam Ward.
So that point right there is crucial. And I just want to back you up on that too, because without your franchise quarterback, your job's at stake. Is the way you look at this one.
A big reason why they had a losing record is because, again, Tyler Huntley had to play quarterback for them this season. Again.
100%. And that's been the issue, whether Lamar's had to go to the locker room for a little while or not. And again, with as young, I'll say this too, as Jackson Dart is, or Cam for that matter, I feel like they're still moldable, which is why I say too,
fair.
It's not as big of a deal. Now, if I'm picking between the two and say which job he should take more serious, I, to your point, think it's Cam. I think to your point, if he's watching the way we saw Cam this year, the arm talent, say, I can correct that. We can correct that. We can facilitate players around him to correct that. Now, the other issue that you're going to have too is, what is this communication like with either GM, right? Joe Shane and also Mike Bergonzi as far as weapons. I will add to the fact, too, I think you get more out of the Baltimore Ravens if they're better strategically on getting Lamar weapons sooner than they did, too. Now, that's where Mike Bergonzi comes into place and say, hey, we're willing to do this, this, and this. I don't think control needs to be a thing that Harbaugh is seeking. I just think alignment in their plan is the biggest thing that he needs moving forward.
Do they see football the same way?
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
And I think in Baltimore, because I believe that they think running, Lamar's legs, and also defense wins championships, and there's a lot of truth in how they've gone about running their franchise. The same with a lot of these teams too, but specifically them. They were late to the party as far as getting him weapons, even this year. With Lamar's number 1 wide receiver to make the Pro Bowl this year.
Zay Flowers?
Zay.
Yeah.
Zay Flowers didn't have an amazing year. He had good moments where Lamar made plays for him, but as far as having a premier 1A Wide receiver, it wasn't there. They attempted to go get guys. That's why DeAndre Hopkins is there, and other players. Like, they are a tight end-centric team. What I will suggest, too, in watching either one of these quarterbacks, Jackson Dart versus Cam Ward, is do you want to be more in the pocket, strategically using your legs type of team to get weapons, to have an offense that feels a little bit more balanced? Or to your point, when it comes down to Jackson Dart, sometimes, man, a cowboy just going to be a cowboy. And that's the issue that he's run into with Lamar at times, with him taking hits, and Jackson Dart has shown that. Is it a big issue in deciding to take this job? No, because, I mean, the Giants could play up a package for him that can give him everything that he's ever wanted as a coach. And you got to wonder, if you're Harbaugh, do you want that? Now, the other part, too, that involves this job is the structure of the team's already laid out. If we're being honest, the Giants' defense is set up just way better than what the Titans have right now.
That's true. And the Giants, as far as the roster that is currently constructed, are in a better spot than the Tennessee Titans today.
But we've seen two teams, and I heard it last night.
Exactly.
Be 3-14 or lose 13 games last year. That's the Jaguars. That's the Patriots. Flip their seasons around.
Went out and spent money.
They went out and spent money.
And the Titans have the most cap space projected this offseason, and the New York Giants are 18th in projected 2026 cap space.
I ain't going to say the issue. I guess the conversation that comes up, if you've already lived this life in the last 2 or 3 years, too, by trying to inject free agency in it. Now, what I will say is this, though, too. This time is with the coach that understands what he wants his team to look like, whether that be Stefanski or whether that be Harbaugh, too. And you know what you're looking for. So maybe you be a little bit more strategic with a coach that has a brand already.
Sure.
As far as the players that you're picking. I wanted to make that point, too, because I thought about it this week. I feel like the Titans have already tried the true value version of coaches as of late. What I mean by that, the discounted versions of trying to find the next guru. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. I think Ben Johnson is one of those guys. I mean, Mike McDaniel. All these guys have been in this conversation of guru type of coaches, the next up. What I would say this time is they need a name brand. Right, wrong, or indifferent. I know Jesse Minter's a part of this conversation. There's other coaches that are still in this conversation that are new.
Yeah.
I do feel like they need a name brand. You got to go get you some Levi jeans this time. You got to go get you some, Heinz ketchup. We can't go get the store bargain this time. And I'm all for Kroger-style foods and everything.
In real life. But for this analogy, the Titans don't need to be shopping in the bargain what's on sale aisle.
This ain't a rollback purchase. It's kind of I feel like from a team.
No, you're 100% right.
Perspective, the players and fans, you need a name this time.
So who counts in that category?
Who counts in that category?
Who are the name brand coaches in this cycle? John Harbaugh's definitely one.
If LaFleur comes up.
Matt LaFleur would be one.
Yep.
And premium name brands, meaning they have been successful as NFL head coaches before.
And that's why I'm pushing back on the people that are dismissing Stefanski. Because here's the other part, too, with as many coaches that are out there, even their staffs, too. You can go get Stefanski, and also you can throw a turbo on there with whatever coordinators that you're getting. What I'm saying is you can enhance him as a coach.
I think a lot of the people
that makes sense,
that don't like Stefanski also feel like Mike Vrabel was this great coach in Tennessee that never should have been fired. He just had really bad draft classes from John Robinson. I could make the same argument about Kevin Stefanski.
You can. Yeah, you can.
About the draft classes that he was given, the quarterback situation that he was given, the worst trade in NFL history that he had to navigate his team through, and the fact that he has 2/3 of his franchise's playoff appearances since 1999. That matters.
Yeah, it does.
I agree. I think Kevin Stefanski is one of the name brand coaches in this cycle.
If he takes his hands off the wheel and let others run it, I think Matt Nagy plays into that too. You can enhance him. What I'm saying is management of a team, understanding how this world of NFL management, because that's also the head coach's job too. His vision brought down through his coaches and also the management of that too, along with the players. Like the point that I'm making is if you bring in Matt Nagy and you also, let's say if Saleh does want to make a move to trying to strengthen himself
Robert
again,
Saleh, 49ers defensive coordinator,
you can enhance it by the coordinators with the hire if you don't get Harbaugh.
Mm-hmm. Open to your thoughts, 615-737-1045. Which quarterback situation is better between the Tennessee Titans
that was the original.
and New York Giants? No, I mean, you bring up a good point, though. Like, the fact that this is even debatable and the fact that the Titans have the quarterback they have in Cam Ward allows us to talk about legitimate, proven commodities as head coaches. Jay Glazer was on Fox over the weekend and said the Titans' head coach job is attractive because they got a quarterback and a general manager a lot of people like. This is not a bad job. This is a solid opening. The Titans today have one of the more attractive, if not the most attractive outside Baltimore, head coach opening in the NFL this cycle. So Jonathan Jones wrote at CBSSports.com that Harbaugh will soon put together his interview schedule for the week. Two sources on interested teams said their belief is Harbaugh's top choices among the vacant jobs are the New York Giants and Atlanta Falcons in some order. Those sources added the Tennessee Titans are in third place, while a third different source said there is real and mutual interest between Harbaugh and the Cleveland Browns. Jonathan Jones goes on to write that reports of John Harbaugh's demands are inaccurate. According to a source with knowledge, Harbaugh will command a high salary based simply off his resume, and some level of roster say is inherent in attracting a coach of that caliber. But a demand of $20 million in salary and full roster control are not required to land Harbaugh's services. I think that's good news.
That's real good news.
Because I don't think the Titans are going to be willing to give John Harbaugh full roster control. And thankfully, I don't think John Harbaugh wants full roster control.
Oh, yeah, it's just asking for too much when it boils down to the success or failure of a team, though, too.
You put yourself on the hot seat more quickly if you come out and ask for full roster control.
I mean, this also takes away from what the Titans have said their alignment is,
Correct.
too, from top to bottom, if you give him that.
Sounds like it's a non-issue.
I think he just needs a place where he can just flourish and be a coach and pick his staff and run the offenses and defenses that he wants to also.
The other part of this that Jonathan Jones writes about at CBSSports.com is that if the Packers and Matt LaFleur do part ways, Ravens, Giants, and Falcons would be the top three jobs in some order for him. I think if you're a Titans fan today, you're not only rooting for Matt LaFleur to become available because you'd like to talk to him, but that also maybe takes away one of the teams of the John Harbaugh sweepstakes who might be just as interested in Matt LaFleur and might be less willing to give a full court press for John Harbaugh.
Yeah. Takes away the sting, I guess, or it takes away the attention specifically of the Giants, because the Giants have been, I guess, as far as the national media is concerned, number one on Harbaugh's mind for a long time and how they're going to approach him. Now, that's also one of the Giants, I feel like, issues also. They're searching for excellence immediately. They got a good team. They just got to find the right structure as far as offensively.
They've got some good young
up.
players.
They do.
Yeah. Open for your thoughts. 615-737-1045. You can compare the Titans and Giants. Let us know. Do you want John Harbaugh? Is it worth the full court press? We'll go to your calls next. Relocating in Middle Tennessee is a big challenge. Forget the fact that everyone wants to move here. Doesn't make it easy to navigate the market. Hey, it's Will Boulding. We all know that one house in the neighborhood that's got the for sale sign that's just still out there. You go on walks around the neighborhood. You're driving to work. You see it collecting dust. Man, they can't sell their home. That house, maybe yours, could benefit from Bernie Gallerani Real Estate. Bernie Gallerani guarantees to sell your home in 30 days or less, or he'll buy it. There's no risk to you. Bernie will let you out of the contract at any time because he is the real estate agent with the 30-day guarantee. You got to check this out. BernieGallerani.com. Check out the new home value estimator. See how much you could really get for your home. And call Bernie at 615-428-2644. Maybe you're forced to relocate, or maybe you're thinking about taking that leap of faith into the market. I know it's stressful. It's a challenge. I can personally vouch Bernie is going to take care of you. BernieGallerani.com. His phone number is 615-428-2644. He's not that big national agent. He knows the area. He's going to get to know your needs. He's going to take care of you. Online at BernieGallerani.com. Ramona will wrap it up hour number 2. First half of the show flying by this Monday morning. Who's got the better situation for John Harbaugh, the Titans or the Giants? Jonathan Jones of CBS says it's Falcons, Titans, Giants in some order, with the Titans likely third. What are your thoughts? 615-737-1045. Let's go to Kendall in Nashville first up.
Morning, Kendall.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Good man. How are you?
I can't complain. I had two things. One, with the Jackson Dart and Cam Ward situation, it's a little bit weird, and I'm trying not to be biased, but I think Jackson Dart, when he first got in, he started off really, really hot versus where Cam Ward kind of got hot towards the end of the season. So if I'm a coach, I kind of want to build off of that momentum, see what pieces he needs, what's going to take him to the next level, and then kind of go from there. So I think the Titans is a better fit for John Harbaugh, but like I said, I'm biased on that. Also, a coach that I hadn't been hearing about a lot is Jason Garrett. I feel like he was a decent coach when he was with the Cowboys. He couldn't get over the hump, but I feel like he's been away long enough to kind of learn and kind of build relationships with coordinators he can bring in and things like that. And I just was wondering why his name wasn't brought up as much as some of the other names. Mm-hmm. Thank y'all so much. Y'all have a good day.
Appreciate
it, Kendall. Appreciate the call. Wow. On Jason Garrett, Ramon, I mean, it's been a while since he's been a coach. He was last a NFL head coach in 2019 and was the OC of the Giants in 2021, and those offenses weren't good. Finished 31st in yardage and points in 2021. Do you think Jason Garrett has a place on this staff, and where might it be?
Place on the staff? I don't necessarily think so. As far as his ability to be on a staff, what do you want him as, a quarterback's coach? I feel like he's either.
I think that would be it, right?
Yeah, but it's either that or head coach. To me, is the way I view a guy like him. I'm not sure if he's an on-staff guy. I agree with him as far as his name being brought up in the conversation. I think more than anything, his reputation of what Dallas was to him is the only thing that's hurting him. And I don't know who's going to be the team to give him that opportunity to kind of redeem himself. He's one of the first coaches out as far as coaches that's not getting an opportunity. He's never had a second run at it.
Jason Garrett coached with Mike Borgonzi's brother Dave in Dallas is part of the reason for the connection there. Dave was current linebackers coach of the Dallas Cowboys as well. His second stint with the team.
His last stint was also OC for the Giants.
That's what I just said.
Oh, you did.
And it was not good there. He had 2 seasons as the OC in New York in 2020 and 2021. The Giants finished 31st in scoring offense and total offense in both of those seasons.
Maybe he was just trying to sabotage what the Giants were.
Well, maybe. Double agent, Jason Garrett.
You're right.
Jonathan is in Laverne up next. What's up, Jonathan?
What's up, Jonathan?
Good morning, guys. How are y'all?
Great, man.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. So I'm going to have to go with the Titans should be in the John Harbaugh talk. I think as a team, our team is more we look better with cap space. We look better with a quarterback, in my opinion. I mean, Cam Ward didn't get injured all season long, progressed all the way through the second half of the season. I thought he completely changed his game, like the second half of the season after the firing of Brian Callahan. So I think appetizing-wise, that would be a good pick for Harbaugh. And who doesn't like Mike Borgonzi? I think he has a lot of proven records and winning championships, and that's really what we need.
No doubt.
Thank you, Jonathan. Appreciate the call.
I side with him just on the reputation. There has to be a hard reset of understanding what football is going to look like on a day-to-day basis.
Mike at Hendersonville is next. What's up, Mike?
Hey, well, one of my thoughts is with Mondami in New York, and he's going to want to tax the rich. At least in Tennessee, there is no income tax. That's something for Harbaugh to think about.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate the call.
Just let it breathe.
Yeah, have you seen the college teams on social media been doing graphics of their mascots holding up bags of money and say no state income tax?
Saw Memphis do that. Man.
I mean, that. I'm not going to get political on who the mayor is or isn't, but that is always a plus for the state of Tennessee for pro athletes.
It is,
and pro athletes also counts college athletes.
Yeah,
your tax bill. Going to be a little less here. We talked about that a lot with Nico Iamaleava last year, that he could be making the same NIL money at UCLA and get considerably less of it. That's not just a New York thing. That's most of the country compared to Tennessee.
$20 million, if that's his number, north of $15 million is what Harbaugh's going to get a year.
Yeah, Uncle Sam's going to get a lot of that.
He going to eat good regardless. So, all right then.
We've got reporting on Matt LaFleur.
All right.
Here we go. Adam Schefter. Not worth the laser light
sounder.
show,
I was waiting for the sounder.
as it's called. No, it's okay. Adam Schefter tweets that the Packers are now expected to try to work out a deal in the coming days to keep Matt LaFleur in Green Bay, per sources.
All right then. I'm still laughing at the last call.
He adds that he currently has 1 year remaining on his contract. Both sides want clarity moving forward. The word try is interesting there.
Because
Expected to try to work out a deal.
sounds like they're more out than in.
Sounds like Matt LaFleur needs to also want to stick around.
Yeah.
Not just, hey, Matt LaFleur, you're out. Like, Matt may need to be given some assurances here.
That also sounds like they're going to want to look at his staff and say, where do we need to make changes? Also, in those types of conversations, wasn't the try to make it work was the same way that Harbaugh and DaCosta in Baltimore tried to have a conversation. Next thing you know, he got fired.
Yeah, right. Sometimes that it still ends with the coach getting fired.
It does. The conversation here in Nashville, Tennessee was, Coach Mike Munchak was supposed to try to change his staff around.
Mike
and
Mularkey.
Did. Well, it was Mularkey.
Yeah,
I thought
Munchak probably was the case too, but Mularkey definitely.
Yeah, so these
Terry Robisky.
conversations of try to, work out a deal is more than just, I think, the numbers. It's also what is your plan for the future. So this could go sour in the next 24 hours too. Here's the thing with Green Bay. They can't sit on this one. They can't wait to make a change if they are. They either got to commit to him as a coach, because that's what's not reported by Schefter, is are they committed to him? Because if they're committed to him, well, the numbers work themselves out if that's the case.
How do you view the Falcons as one of the teams in the mix for John Harbaugh? I'm confused by that. I don't think that's a great situation to walk into because you don't know who your quarterback is and you don't have a first-round pick to address that quarterback.
No.
Game. You may have a good defense.
Yes.
But I'd rather have a quarterback that I know is there and mine.
Yeah.
And a defense that I've got money to then fix that may not be in place already versus young pass rushers, a good defense, but a total question mark at quarterback and no first-round pick.
They do, and I'm trying to see their lineup too at left. Yeah, and they're going to have to make a decision also at some point on Jake Matthews, who's getting up in age himself too at left tackle.
So they have a good line. They just got to pay that line.
They do got to pay. Yes, Lindstrom is already in too. Bergeron is also one of those guys. I think Bergeron is one of those young guys too. But you got to look at Kyle Pitt's situation. Can they franchise tag? Do they want to? What will they do with Bijan Robinson moving forward too? They also got issues. Well, they also got a question on Drake London moving forward. So there's a lot of money that has to still be spent. And the question that they have to ask themselves now, as far as the Falcons, how good will they be in free agency since they don't have a first round draft pick too? So I view them as Michael Penix Jr., career injury prone guy from college all the way up until this past year. He's not really
that good when he is on the field in the NFL.
And then what are you going to do with Kirk Cousins too at the quarterback position? So I think there's a lot of questions, which is why they're probably bringing in Matt Ryan to kind of settle some of the stuff and just tell the people that have been in front office, this is just dumb. Mm-hmm. You don't bring in an immediate threat to your franchise quarterback when you just paid him $200 million, $150 guaranteed, whatever the number was that Kirk Cousins got. They got a football, I guess, alignment issue.
How close is he to Matt Ryan is an important question.
Who, Harbaugh?
Yeah.
I don't think much of that. I personally don't.
If you believe in Matt Ryan, I think it impacts your view of the entire job altogether.
If that's the case, Brady in Vegas then too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of important people, what's their relationship to John Harbaugh? Is that something that can differentiate two similar situations? 615-737-1045 is our number. Hour 3 on deck. Eric Kane going to stop by at 8:20. Talking about Tennessee and the transfer portal. Texans and Steelers tonight. We'll get a vibe check from Ramon on how he's feeling about his Steelers taking on the only AFC South team remaining in the postseason coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. It's that time of the year where it's cold outside. We were complaining earlier, man, and nobody wants to deal with an HVAC issue or plumbing or electrical for that matter, man. Most of the time, you don't know what it's going to cost you or if it'll get fixed right, or if somebody's trying to sell you something you do not need. I'm here to tell you about personal experience. When you call Hiller or reach out to them on their website at happyhiller.com, the experts are going to solve your problems quickly. And the price you tell is the price that you'll actually pay. There are no hidden fees or surprises on your bill when you get your bill. And they're just good. They've been in business for over 35 years and are family owned and operated too. Their techs, very professional, experienced, and trustworthy, and they're all background and drug screened too. When they're on the way, you'll receive a photo of the tech that's coming to your home and a link to track them in real time so you're not sitting around wasting your time. They believe in this. Happy You'll Build the service is free. If Hiller doesn't fix what you need properly, they will do all they can to fix it or just simply give you your money back. They're just that good and trustworthy, man. To learn more about them, a booklet with them like I do, go to happyhiller.com.
8:02, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Down studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. 12 fourth-quarter lead changes across 5 wildcard NFL playoff games over the weekend, starting in Jacksonville, where Josh Allen threw for 273 yards and had 3 total touchdowns, leading the Bills to a 27-24 win over the Jaguars. Buffalo now travels to Denver to face the one-seeded Broncos at Mile High this Saturday. The 49ers beat the defending champion Eagles 23-19. Yesterday afternoon, Brock Purdy threw for 262 yards and 2 touchdowns, but the 49ers lost star tight end George Kittle due to a torn Achilles tendon. The 49ers will play NFC West rival and the one-seeded Seahawks this Saturday in Seattle. And in Foxborough last night, the Patriots smothered the Chargers, allowing just 3 points and a 16-3 win. Drake May threw for 268 yards and a score in his playoff debut. The Patriots will now host the winner of tonight's game as the Steelers host the Texans in Pittsburgh with kickoff at 7:15 on ESPN. And this morning, per ESPN's Adam Schefter, the Packers are expected to try to work out a deal in the coming days to keep head coach Matt LaFleur in Green Bay. LaFleur currently has 1 year remaining on his contract. Both sides want clarity moving forward. The Packers lost on Saturday to the Bears 31-27. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go into hour number 3 on Monday mornings. Ramon and Will, 104.5 The Zone and Zone TV. Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Glad you are with us on this frigid Monday morning, reacting to a full weekend of football. Ramon, I feel like that picture of Kevin Malone from The Office when it's a popular meme of like, what'd you do over the weekend? Good. I watched 7 hours of football each day.
Yeah.
That's how I feel today.
It was.
I feel very fulfilled with football.
I had to. Shout out to the big league, man, NFL. This entire weekend was good ball.
They're king for a reason.
Yes, they are. Just as the script said it would be this year.
That's exactly right.
It's a script.
Shout out to the script writers, giving us a great wild card weekend. The script writers of the transfer portal are working overtime. Eric Kane's going to join us to piece through all of that for Tennessee and the guys that were in Knoxville and ones who may come back to play for UT in Knoxville. He'll join us coming up in 15 minutes. Tyler Dunn's going to stop by at 9:20. Been a while since we've had him on as someone who has closely written about all 32 teams, but specifically the Green Bay Packers, to be able to talk about Mike McCarthy and Jeff Hafley, maybe even Matt LaFleur, as candidates for the Tennessee Titans and his perception of the Titans job. So we'll do that with him coming up at 9:20. What's your vibe on the Steelers tonight, Ramon? Where are nerve levels? Where are confidence levels hosting the Houston Texans to wrap up Wildcard weekend?
I got 2 scenarios that could work out for us, that could play out this tonight.
Okay.
They can get their face kicked in by the defense because Will Anderson Jr., All-Pro, and then Daniil Hunter can just get after Aaron Rodgers, just kind of box him in. Is kind of how I see that. And that has its place, and I'm sure there'll be some moments in the game in which that'll happen. They're just good. It's hard to just run long play action. It's hard to just drop back and hold on to the football with those dudes rushing, not even mentioning their interior guys that they have or the ability to play, their second level at linebackers. And they got all pros at the third level of the defense, too. Kamari Lassiter is also that good, too. So they got players defensively. But it could also be a slow burn and death by 1,000 paper cuts.
16-13 with a TJ Watt fumble return for a touchdown.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Pittsburgh got those same things, too. TJ wasn't overly effective, although he did affect the last play of the game against, well, not the last play of the game, the last series of the game against Baltimore.
Right.
He did do that, and this will be his second game coming back from the punctured lung. You got Alex Highsmith that's playing a part in this, too. Keanu Benton and Cam Hayward that equally is doing the exact same things as a second-team All-Pro this year as what the Texans have. I think the biggest X factor in this game is C.J. Stroud. How can C.J. Stroud handle T.J. and Alex Highsmith getting out of him? Will he be able to get outside of the pocket and use his legs? Will he take advantage of this Steelers defense that plays more zone? Or when they blitz him, does he know where to go with the football? That's the issues that he's going to have. I trust Aaron Rodgers in this game. I don't trust C.J. Stroud's ability to go into Pittsburgh on a Monday Night Football and be very concise in how he plays football. It'll be tight. I think it'll be very uncomfortable for each fan base watching this one. Big plays will be given up on either side. Mm-hmm. I got the Steelers winning this one. Like I said, it could go very bad for Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
It could.
Things could unravel quickly, not just for this team, but for the entire organization moving forward. If you lose this game, is there a legitimate world where Mike Tomlin says, I'm good, I don't need this, and just goes and does TV?
I say no. Okay. I thought latter part of the season, like starting in November, that conversation got loud.
You think he's done enough now to stick around?
Listening and watching and knowing some of those guys in that locker room still, he ain't lost it.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers is actually enjoying himself. There's conversation can Coach Tomlin get A-Rod to come back another year?
And as well as he's played this year, he's been better than I expected.
And then also you get DK Metcalf back tonight, too, a weapon that Aaron Rodgers needed bad.
Really badly.
Yes, he did.
Really badly. I think it's interesting. I mean, if Mike Tomlin isn't the head coach of the Steelers next season, it's because Mike Tomlin doesn't want to be the head coach of the Steelers next season.
I see that, yeah.
I don't think ownership is making a move. It doesn't feel like front office has the same discontent that the fan base does. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the reporting around Mike Tomlin and this idea that, like, he may just want to go sit on a desk at CBS. I mean, there's an opening now with Matt Ryan becoming the new president of the Atlanta Falcons, and that would be a fit. Mm-hmm. You can go sit next to another former Steelers head coach, and Bill Cowher would be right next to him. But, yeah, I think it's a really interesting matchup, and I think it's two teams that have similar scripts to the way they win games. The Houston Texans and the Pittsburgh Steelers both minimize their offenses, and they influence game scripts to their favor with their defense, with getting pressure. What version of TJ Watt are you getting in this game? I think that's the important first question you've got to ask about Pittsburgh against the young tackles and Trent Brown, Ariante Ursary, and the different offensive linemen that Houston will trot out there. They're healthier at line right now than they have been at times this season, but even when some of those players are healthy, they're still not very good at football, especially compared to TJ Watt. I think the other question is who wins the turnover battle in this game, because both of these teams are excellent at taking care of the football well enough for their defense to set them up with short fields and just being complimentary. The Texans, second in the NFL in turnover differential at plus 17 this season. The Steelers are plus 12. That's fourth. If you go into Pittsburgh, you have to beat the Steelers to win the game. Breaking news, high-level analysis. You have to beat the Steelers to win the game. What I mean by that is they're not going to beat themselves. You have to go beat them. Because teams hear Renegade and all of a sudden just forget how to play football and forget what their snap count is. Ravens. Forget how to take care of the football. And all of a sudden you got a greased pig you're throwing out there. And TJ Watt comes screaming around the edge, and then, ball is loose. And then just crazy magic voodoo Mike Tomlin stuff happens. Oh. That's what I'm counting on to happen again tonight. Conventional wisdom says Texans, but conventional wisdom doesn't matter when the Pittsburgh Steelers are a home dog in the artist formerly known as Heinz Field in the playoffs. So I'm with you. I think Pittsburgh finds a way again, even though everything in my brain says Houston, 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 Houston. There's been shoddy wins that I feel like Arizona's also had as of late, too. You look at the way, Arizona? At L.A. Chargers. Like, they win that one close. Like, I look at that one. The Arizona win was just big. Arizona's just a bad team. I'm just looking at how they've won and who they've played. The other thing, too, that I always count at in these type of situations, just how it kind of goes, is Houston good enough to win 10 straight games in a row? I think they are. There's 9 straight that I think they are. They're on a heater right now. Mm-hmm. I don't know if there's been enough negativity for them to have a reset. Now, again, here's the other part, though, too, that matches, I think, what the Houston's defense is, too. That defense has been leading the way. They have been menaces up front. On the back end of it also, Stingley Jr. is playing as good as you want anybody to play this time of the year, too. But that, to me, is also where it becomes a kryptonite for him. Agreed. Arthur Smith is going to play close to the line of scrimmage. He's going to throw to his tight ends.
He's going to give the football to Jaylen Warren time and time again. Kenneth Gainwell in a position that he's in right now, also to be dynamic. How will the linebackers, how does Henry To'oTo'o and Azeez Shire match up with Kenneth Gainwell? And then, again, they don't have Darnell Washington in this game, but they're going to try to just beat you down. They're going to go at Will Anderson Jr. to take his effectiveness out of the same way I felt like the Titans went at Myles Garrett in that game. Like, go hit him dead in the mouth. How long? That's the way we operate. How long can you take this beating? I know you want to rush, but can you, Will Anderson, take this beating because Arthur's comfortable with just handing the football off?
Get ready to learn Ben's Coronic chips.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
Get ready to learn Jonnu Smith chips every single play. You're just going to
5 yards.
Hitting the ribs every time you try to rush around the edge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that so? That's what I'm saying. Like, you're matching defenses.
Yeah, you are. You are.
And
two really similar teams.
That's where I brought up earlier, C.J. Stroud.
It's why I have no level of confidence in picking this game against the spread or which way it's going to go, because it feels like the kind of game that comes down to 4 or 5 plays in the red zone on 4th and short and turnovers and kicks too. Again, cold, windy Pittsburgh in January, we saw a couple hard right turns taken by footballs that allowed Pittsburgh to get to this point.
It's going to be toxic tonight.
It always is.
It's going to be
AFC North playing AFC North teams playing. Yeah, it's going to be toxic.
Last time C.J. Stroud played in a cold weather game at Kansas City, maybe December 7th.
Yeah, they played well in that game. I mean, he didn't do a ton, but
it was without Patrick.
Their team won 20-10.
It was without Patrick too, if I'm not mistaken.
In that game?
That game, was it?
That was with.
Was it without Patrick? I'm looking.
No, Patrick played that game.
Patrick played?
He was 14 of 33 for 160 and 3 interceptions. So he looked like Chris Oladokin out there, but he ran 7 times for 59 yards. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to do that. And that is one area where, again, like a lot of the things the Texans actually do have as, things they struggle with. Texans have allowed some quarterbacks to run on them this year. Aaron Rodgers ain't running on them tonight. I could promise you that. I won't make a lot of promises about that game. I will promise you, Aaron Rodgers is not running for 50 yards.
I got to give him credit because in big game matchups, he's went back to State Farm Aaron Rodgers. Discount double check. He's been there.
Eric Kane of AllQuest joins us coming up next, recapping a busy weekend for Tennessee, the transfer portal, and looking ahead at more names who are still on the board. Eric Kane after this.
It's Ramon Foster for Medical House Calls. That is the website that you can go to. I'll also give you the number right now, too. It's 615-838-2375. That is the number that you can call or text to get medical house calls over to your house. And here's what they do for you, man. They provide a medical service to you 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Same-day appointments are available like I use myself. I felt like I was coming down with the cold, and you know what I said? I was going to get ahead of it with their IV therapy and pretty much knocked it out. They were just good, but it's not just that part of it too, man. They can take care of everything from sicknesses like I was feeling at the time, infections, injuries. Also, if you don't want to go to the urgent care, they'll come to you. They do in-home labs, they do testing, and so much more. I'm here to tell you, for a flat fee, you can get an evaluation, full exam, treatment plans, and prescriptions if you need it. Or if you're just on the back end of the weekend and you're trying to get yourself right going into the next week for work, for life, they do IV therapy as well, man. If you're feeling fatigue, a persistent illness that has been going on, there's an IV therapy for you. If you have athletic recovery or just want something that's an immune boosting blend, they can do that. Or rapid rehydration. Everything that you need, they will service you with. Again, the website is medicalhousecalls.com or call or text them at 615-838-2375.
Ramona Will continues on 104.5 The Zone, shifting gears from a Titans head coach search and a wildcard weekend to a busy weekend for Tennessee in the football transfer portal. He's Ramon Foster. I'm Will Bowling. Pleased to be joined by our good friend Eric Kane of VolQuest and On3. Eric, good morning. How are you?
I'm great, boys. Good morning to y'all.
Morning, Kane.
This is a crazy time. I know it is for you guys covering it. It is for fans just reading it and trying to stay up to date at volquest.com. Eric, how much better do you feel about Tennessee's transfer portal now today as opposed to a week ago after the weekend Josh Heupel and the Vols had?
Yeah, it's certainly a busy time, and it's not just like that here on Tennessee's campus. It's like that all across the country, trying to get all these transfer portal commits and trying to get them on campus ahead of the dead period that's now intact for now through the end of Wednesday, and trying to get some decisions to be made before the school starts, and it's all about assembling your roster. So it's a wild time all over the place. Feel much better about where Tennessee stands today than where Tennessee stood certainly a week ago, maybe middle of the week last week and all that. Still have work to do, no doubt about that. But Tennessee had a nice little run of defensive commits over the weekend, and now have 4 former Penn State defenders who have committed to Josh Heupel, Jim Knowles, and I think it's important to remember too, not just Amari Campbell at linebacker, or Chaz Coleman at edge, or Xavier Gilliam in the interior of the defensive line, or Juwan Lane at safety. But remember, Tennessee has 3 former Penn State assistants as well, if you count Jim Knowles. You have Andrew A.J. Jackson on the front line, or on the edge. You have Anthony Poindexter in the back end. So there's been a lot of talk about acceleration, or there's been a lot of talk about how it takes a couple of years for Jim Knowles' defense to be, put into action, or for it to be, see the results, I guess I should say. You're bringing over 4 players who have played for him in the past, and you have an assistant coach at all 3 levels, if you count Jim Knowles, who's a linebackers coach in his day as a walk-around defensive coordinator. That makes me feel a whole lot better. So seeing the run of defenders the last couple of days, you got a kicker in the transfer portal that has a whole lot of confidence and has some success, and still need to figure out, plug some holes here and there. But I think you feel a whole lot better about where you are now, what's hopefully to come in the maybe hours to days, and certainly where you were about a week ago.
Eric Kane of VolQuest, our guest. Eric, Chaz Coleman commits to Tennessee over LSU, Ohio State, and South Carolina Saturday morning. 6'4", 240, had 1 sack in 9 games last season, but he is very highly rated in the On3 industry ranking for someone that doesn't have a ton of college production yet. Eric, why do you think he is such a highly rated player, and what do you think this staff likes about him?
I mean, the such a high ceiling, incredible high ceiling. You mentioned some of his measurables there. Very long, very athletic. He has the frame to put on more weight as well, and I think he's done a good job of doing that at Penn State already. And Jim Knowles likes to play bigger bodies on the exterior of the defensive line. You go back and look at some of his personnel groupings in year 2 and year 3 at Ohio State, and that's pretty evident there. But Chaz Coleman's a guy that can get after the quarterback. And I think he's only going to get better as, more time goes on. The more he reps, the more he practices. You mentioned his rating. I think he's number 3 in the On3 industry transfer portal rankings. And so there's a lot of high upside right there. And Tennessee needs a pass rusher. You lose Joshua Joseph. He's exhausted his eligibility going to the NFL. Caleb Herring, Jordan Ross enter the transfer portal. Not just those guys as well, but some reserves. And Kellen Lindstrom, Manuel Koye, just some bodies on the edge position have all entered the transfer portal. So you still need some more, but you also needed an impact guy that can get after the quarterback, and Tennessee Jim Knowles believes that can be Chaz Coleman down the line. Just kind of getting his feet wet in the college game, did so at Penn State, expected to take a big jump in year number 2 in the system, though it being his first year at Tennessee.
Joined by Eric Kane of VolQuest and On3 this morning, talking with Tennessee, talking transfer portal. Kane, I kind of want to go in a different direction first as far as points for this team, man. Max Gilbert wasn't terrible. He just had some real bad moments for the Vols as far as kicking field goals, man. Why did they go after Cooper Renvier from Louisville more than anything for his place kicking and field goals?
Yeah, I think when you look at Max Gilbert, and I don't think anybody can deny Max Gilbert has a leg. He's made several 50-yard field goals over his 2-year run at Tennessee. I think that, within the intermediate game, you miss one, maybe it sticks with you a little bit. A lot of that's human nature. As a competitor, as a football player, you give up a sack, Ramon, you're going to be thinking about that maybe the next play, and you don't want to let that turn into another sack. And I think for Max Gilbert at times that was the case, and again, that's the case for a lot of people. But I think with Cooper Renvier at Louisville, you look at what he did this year. He was 21 of 25 kicking field goals. He was 19 of 20 from 50 yards or 49 yards in. So those kicks where 40 to 50 yards, they're certainly not gimmies, but they're kicks you should make in the college game. And certainly anything within 40 yards, you need to be making those kicks. And it looks like Tennessee got a guy that's very consistent. And I don't know about you guys, especially at the college game, there's guys that can make 50-yard field goals, no doubt, but anything over 50, I think, is a bonus in the college game. I expect you to make kicks from 49 yards and within, and that, to me, is what this kicker does. Again, 19 of 20 in kicks in that range last year at Louisville. So you're getting some consistency. I think you're getting a kicker that's got a lot of confidence in himself, and I want that in a kicker for sure. And Max Gilbert's going to go to Arkansas. Wish the best of luck to him, and we'll see if Tennessee has gotten an upgrade over Max Gilbert with Cooper Renvier from Louisville.
Eric, when you look at this defense again, man, the interior defensive line, how do you see this kind of unfolding and kind of finishing out in this portal signing, timeline that we're in right now, too, because there's help to be had on the interior D-line, too.
Oh, no doubt. Again, we talked about Chaz Coleman. That was a great addition. You got Xavier Gilliam, the defensive tackle from Penn State, and that's a good start. I like – he's an experienced guy. He's played some football, but Tennessee needs more bodies. And there was a couple different visitors on campus, over the weekend. Walter Mathis Jr. from LSU, who's got 3 years of experience remaining. You've got Dylan Evans from Texas A&M, who's got 3 years of experience remaining or eligibility remaining. Those guys pretty young in their career, pretty young in their developmental pieces about it, but Tennessee likes them and is hoping to sign a couple of those guys. Tennessee just needs help in the interior. Need help all over because you lost Bryson Eason, you lost Jackson Boy, you're losing Dominic Bailey, who had some versatility to his game a little bit. You're losing Tyree West. So to your point, there's some help to be had, and Tennessee's brought in a slew of defensive linemen, hoping to land a couple more of those. But it's a good start again with the Penn State duo. But it needs to turn in some more. You look at a guy like Tulane edge Jordan Norman, who was on campus this past weekend, and Tennessee likes him a lot, but Florida's in that conversation. South Carolina's in that conversation. So, again, Tennessee, that's one of where Tennessee's done a good job. Tennessee's had a nice rebound in the portal the last 3 or 4 days. There's still more work to be done, and specifically on the defensive line.
Eric Kane of Allquest, our guest at _Kaner, where you get him on Twitter. Eric, when you talk about Sam Leavitt and the potential fit for Josh Heupel with the number one player in the transfer portal, according to On3, Tennessee appears to have at least survived the visit for now for him and Coral Gables at Miami over the weekend. LSU very still much in the picture. Do you have any feeling or gut feeling on Sam Leavitt in Tennessee, and why do you think Josh Heupel has pinpointed him as the number one target? What's the fit like in your eyes in this offense?
Yeah, real quick, I'll talk on Sam Leavitt. Let me go back to the defensive line.
Sure.
I completely omitted two guys who were on campus yesterday who left yesterday evening, and that's the Alabama duo of Quay Rusal and James Smith. And those two guys were high school teammates. They were teammates at Alabama, and it certainly feels like they want to be teammates at their next stop. In Ohio State, those guys were there late last week. They were on campus for a little bit of time here this weekend on Sunday, and Tennessee feels like they did a really good job in that regard. Smith is an interior. Rusal is an edge guy, and both very highly rated out of high school. So I'll be intrigued to see if Tennessee can get those guys across the finish line as well. So a number of defensive line targets, as we mentioned. Tennessee's got to do some work there. Sam Leavitt, he's the number one ranked player in the transfer portal, according to On3 transfer portal rankings. We know his path, Michigan State to Arizona State, and college football playoff, Big 12 freshman and newcomer of the year a season ago. Had an injury this year, missed a couple of games, and that's an injury that might keep him out of spring practice for whoever he signs with. There's a lot to like about Sam Leavitt. Obviously, he's accurate with the football. He can sling it around the place a little bit. He can run, which is always an intriguing aspect in this offense, in my opinion. He's the hot commodity, and there's obviously it's easy to see why Tennessee likes him, LSU likes him, Miami likes him. There's been a lot of reported numbers about Miami coming out of that camp, what Miami's offered a guy like Ty Simpson or Sam Levitt, and it'll be interesting to see kind of how all this plays out. Will Oregon throw a domino into this in the coming hours or days for the Sam Levitt sweepstakes? I mean, he's the flashy toy that everybody wants right now. Tennessee's in a unique position. Will there be any movement on the Joey Aguilar front today? There's been reported that a conference call is coming up today, and you would assume that that's just for scheduling. I know that they're trying to, the Diego Pavia lawsuit, trying to get JUCO years to not count against these guys. They're seeking an injunction. I don't know if an injunction would happen. And if an injunction would happen, that would be another blanket waiver, and that's obviously a win for Tennessee. But I think Tennessee's kind of waiting to see what happens with Joey Aguilar, if there's any movement today or this week. Obviously, very much involved with Sam Levitt, trying to be in there. And if those don't work out, then Bo Prabula of Missouri is a guy that Tennessee hosted on campus late last week that I think would be really intriguing in this offense as well. The aspect of his legs. He was he was at Virginia over the weekend as well. So kind of a wait and see mode, but obviously Tennessee's got a lot of holes to fill, but quarterback dominates the conversation. And, Josh Heupel's got to have a plan A, plan B, plan C. I think that's all kind of on the table right now, and just seeing what happens with Aguilar in the coming days, seeing what happens with Levitt. And then if you don't get one of those, you pivot and go all in on Prabula or somebody else. Josh Heupel certainly makes $9 million a year to try to figure that out.
No doubt about it. And Eric, it's so interesting. I feel like the Bo Prabula visit has people maybe a bit more anxious than they should be. I mean, heck, LSU's hosting the Landon Clark, the Elon kid. They've got Houston Longstreet. Like, everybody needs options at this point that are scholarship quarterbacks who have been in college, right? And Tennessee has got to add somebody. You mentioned the running aspect of Bo Prabula. Do you think Bo Prabula is a good enough quarterback to come in with the expectation of being the starter? Is he the kind of quality quarterback that could compete with George McIntyre and Faison Brandon and kind of have to earn it? How do you view his potential fit if Tennessee does lose out on Sam Levitt?
Yeah, just in my opinion, I think if Tennessee were to end up with Bo Prabula, I think that it would be a situation where he comes in and he competes. I don't think anything's going to be guaranteed. But you have that mindset, and you have that expectation of, okay, this guy's started games in the Southeastern Conference. He's had a decent amount of success in certain areas of his game to where you come in and compete, he probably would have the leg up on a Faison Brandon and a George McIntyre. But I think you treat it just like you treated Joey Aguilar last year. You just come in and compete. And you come in, you win the job, and you go out there and play. And remember, Joey Aguilar came in, and his mantra was gunslinger, throw it all over the place, but also a guy that threw 24 picks in 2 years at Appalachian State. But he turned out to lead the SEC in passing this year. Like, you just never know, and that's why you got to continue to recruit. That's why you got to continue to bring guys in on visits. I mean, Tennessee running back is certainly not the highest of priorities for Tennessee right now, but they need to add a running back. And Tennessee's had like 4 or 5 different running backs on campus, just trying to keep their options open. And I think you got to treat that like quarterback, especially if you lose out on the Aguilar sweepstakes, of course, with the court ruling, and I should say the Levitt sweepstakes, more or less.
Right.
You just got to keep your options open. So I think if Prabula ends up in Knoxville when it's all said and done, would, in my opinion, have a leg up to be the starting quarterback, but certainly have to come in and earn it with George McIntyre and Faison Brandon.
Kane, and all of this conversation behind the transfer portal, I guess the quiet conversation that's being had about how you build these teams in the portal world is age. How important is that as far as getting those 23, 24-year-old guys, as far as, the way that, I guess, scenario's been painted? Of course, well, they're 23 and 24 years old. They're supposed to beat up on 19 and 20-year-olds. Where is that conversation with you and your mindset about how you attack the portal and the players that you get?
Yeah, it's really interesting because, in a perfect world, you go out to the portal and you get guys that can come in and help immediately but have a couple of years of eligibility that they can help you down the line to add to your roster that you've retained and grown and developed. And there's obviously a lot of guys that stay on the roster, but there's a lot of guys that leave now in the transfer portal. So developments from, recruiting, scouting, signing, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, it's not what it used to be. So I think there's got to be a little bit of balance in there. Certainly, Tennessee's going and looking for a veteran quarterback if it can't, get Joey Aguilar. Tennessee's looking for some veteran defensive linemen, and you brought in Gilliam. He's a veteran interior guy. You're looking at a couple other guys that have a lot of experience, although you're also keeping your options open and bringing in some guys in the interior like those two young guys, LSU's and Texas A&M, Evans and Smith that I mentioned earlier. So I think there's a balance there. The running backs Tennessee's looked at, very veteran, and that makes sense to have with Deshaun Bishop. The safety guys, or the defensive backs, pretty veteran-led, and I think that's where you need it because you don't need any projects back there right now. You need guys who have played a lot of football to come in and play in the SEC, and I think that's what Lane from Penn State's going to do, and Moss from Kansas State, and a couple other guys they've gotten right now. And some other guys they're looking at. The T.J. Metcalf from Michigan is a guy that Tennessee really likes, was on campus this past weekend, can play nickel, can play safety. He's played in this league at Arkansas. He was a honorable mention or second team All Big Ten this year, whatever it was. It's a guy that Tennessee really likes as well. So I think there's got to be a balance there. But you look at what Indiana's done. They're all old, and they're playing for a national championship. There's different ways to do it, but I think there's got to be a bit of a balance there. But in certain spots, like quarterback, secondary, you can't afford to be young right now. So you go there and you try to find some veterans who have played a whole lot of football.
He is Eric Kane of AllQuest and On3 @_Kaner, where you get him on Twitter. Great follow, a must follow, of course, and one of our favorites. Eric, we appreciate you as always. There's a lot to sort through. Appreciate your help on it. Thank you.
Kane.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much.
Yes, sir. Eric Kane with us here this morning. Talk with Austin Price again tomorrow. Ramon, these portal things change day by day.
Yes, they do. Fluid is what you would call the information on the portal right now.
No doubt. No doubt. We've got people in our FNM Bank chat saying George McIntyre should just go ahead and transfer because Tennessee wants a quarterback. No, this is the way it works now, guys.
It's just kind of the way it goes.
This is the way it works.
Yeah.
As much pressure is on Josh Heupel, as much pressure is on every coach. You got to go into every season with 3 scholarship quarterbacks.
You do.
Tennessee has 2.
Oh.
And neither of them have started a game in college football ever.
I was thinking about that as E. Kane was talking about, as we're speaking about Levitt and Aguilar still, and I'm thinking to myself, well, they just extended from a lot of what Vols fan base wanted, a scholarship offer to Graham Simpson, Ty Simpson's younger brother. And, he'll probably end up being a 4 or 5-star also, is you still have to play the high school game because, just thinking of George McIntyre's ability, like he needs 1 year, that's it, before he's, can be projected as a first rounder. You got to still develop him. I think George is in a position where he also needs development, George McIntyre.
We got a comment on YouTube that says, Heupel doesn't develop quarterbacks, period.
Well, he turned Joe Milton and Hendon Hooker into draft picks.
What do you mean he doesn't develop quarterbacks?
And it looks like if Joey Aguilar goes to the league, too, he'll also be a draft pick when I don't think he was going to be one last year.
But before the draft pick part of it, like Joey Aguilar was seen as a turnover-prone older quarterback that had a very low ceiling, and Josh Heupel developed him into the quarterback of one of the best offenses in the country last year. Like
quarterback at Missouri,
Drew Lock.
Drew Lock is another development. Like,
what are we doing here, man?
This is where
what are we talking about?
To be quite honest, this is where the conversation about what the offense is bleeds into it. Like there are other what do you say about Dylan Raiola in Nebraska? What do you say about that situation?
Josh Heupel is as proven of a quarterback developer as there is in the Southeastern Conference.
It's the same conversation had about Quinn Ewers at Texas, right? Is it that part too? Like Quinn Ewers was a 5-star, turned into a 6th-round draft pick. It's to me also the success of these guys too leads itself into where they go into the draft. Like sometimes you just need your quarterback to be good for your team.
Yeah, I don't even want to frame it as what were they as draft prospects? What were they as college quarterbacks? That's all that matters to me because that's what Josh Heupel's paid to do. It's to develop the best possible college quarterback that he can.
What do you say about DJ Lagway? Lenore Sellers, we
can go down the list. There are not many quarterbacks that have been being developed by the person that recruited them out of high school.
Who takes credit for Ty Simpson's development at Alabama, right?
He's one of the only examples of a quarterback that went from one school, high school, all the way to the NFL draft process. Yeah. Everyone else in the playoff had portal quarterbacks, except for Georgia.
Did Vanderbilt develop Diego Pavia? Did Vanderbilt expose him to more talent to make him a better player?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Case by case
Like,
basis.
it's case by case and how you say develop or
Charlie
not.
Weiss Jr. and Lane Kiffin developed Trinidad Chambliss.
Trinidad Chambliss
in
yes,
one season.
That's directly.
Yeah.
Well, what do you say about Austin Simmons?
Right. Yeah. It's the whole this narrative of like Josh Heupel doesn't develop you just hate Tennessee if you really believe that. Like, you're just kind of hating and you're not really actually trying to evaluate what's actually happening if you believe that. Coming up, there's new reporting on John Harbaugh and two teams that are emerging as favorites. A New York reporter has a development in that story that we'll talk about coming up next. Roberto Will, 104.5 The Zone, wrapping up hour number 3, 615-737-1045. Connor Hughes of SNY New York, Ramon, has more reporting on the John Harbaugh sweepstakes. It's not good news for the Titans. There is a belief, SNY's Connor Hughes reports, among other coaching candidates, that John Harbaugh will land with either the Giants or the Atlanta Falcons. Quote, with the loser of those sweepstakes landing Kevin Stefanski. The Miami Dolphins have Harbaugh interest too, although they already made their general manager decision with John Eric Sullivan. There could be additional vacancies opening after Wildcard weekend. Connor Hughes of SNY, do you believe that it is Giants or Falcons for John Harbaugh? Does that make sense to you?
I mean, it can make sense. My question is, where's the source coming from? It's coming out of New York, right? So that to me in itself is just saying, okay, this is also part of deployed publicly to get a filler the way that I think other teams do too. And it's going to be very much pro New York Giants. It's kind of the way I view that one. Like if John Harbaugh hadn't directly spoken with somebody, and I get his agent to probably talk too, but this is all to me leverage. And at this point, with this type of information getting out, you'd also think that if this holds some weight, that Mark Berganzi and his camp is probably trying to have a real conversation. Like, to me, the public perception and how you view these reports is always going to be sided to who wants it the most. The Giants need this, but so do the Titans, so do the Falcons too. I don't necessarily think that this holds a lot of weight. I just say this is coming from an aggregate of an account from a reporter that's pro-Giants. That seems very pro-Giants to me and how they want this to unfold.
My challenge...
It's hard to trust this type of reporting.
I agree, and my challenge with the Giants and Harbaugh is there may be legitimate smoke, and John Harbaugh may really want to coach for the New York Giants. Mm-hmm. That may all be true. The thing is, these national reporters and New York media are always going to first view things from the perspective of the New York team.
Yes.
Always. It is the big market team. It's why Stephen A. Smith's doing performance art of the New York Knicks on First Take all the time. It's why we always view things from the big market, is because it has the most amount of eyeballs on it. I get it from the ESPN perspective, but are we only looking from that perspective because we only want to look from that perspective? Because we always just view things from the national perspective? I don't know the answer to that. Because on paper, Ramon, I see the Titans in having a better quarterback situation than the New York Giants. That may not matter to John Harbaugh.
Right.
But on paper, I don't understand why the New York Giants are a better job than the Titans. Do you?
I mean, like I said, I think the defense is more complete. But having Joe Shane be there, a part of it too, with the method and how they've gone about running that business is just problematic. Now, maybe John Harbaugh feels he's the guy that can push him back and say, let me do my job. But I personally view these jobs one-to-one in a sense, other than the fact it's the New York market. I also got to look at the fact, too, that look at the division that you're playing in. Not saying that you're looking for an easy route out, but, I think you're quicker to rebuild a franchise in Nashville under his site and under Borgonzi's site than trying to compete with Washington, with Philly, with Dallas, and, just that division in general. So I don't view one above the other. This one, to me, boils down to who are you going to get the most control as far as the quarterback play moving forward, and how much of a say-so in time will you get to run this franchise. I think that matters. New York is going to be demanding ASAP. The fan base, an immediate jolt of success. I think you're giving more grace here in Nashville, Tennessee. Just my personal opinion on how you view which job is going to give you more security for the long haul.
Yeah.
And I think his legacy is going to matter.
Again, if you missed it earlier, Jonathan Jones of CBS kind of debunked the whole demand stuff from John Harbaugh. He wrote over the weekend, reports of Harbaugh's demands are inaccurate. According to a source with knowledge, Harbaugh will command a high salary based simply off his resume, and some level of roster say is inherent in attracting a coach of that caliber. But a demand of $20 million in salary and full roster control are not required to land Harbaugh's services. One thing that did kind of surprise me over the weekend, and not just here, but other places, did you expect Mike McDaniel to get this many head coaching interviews immediately after being fired in Miami?
No. they're to me, in my personal opinion, I think they're gathering intel.
So Tom Pelissero said this morning on Twitter, NFL Media, at Tom Pelissero, former Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel will interview this week for the Browns, Falcons, Titans, and Ravens head coaching jobs. He is also scheduled to interview for the Lions offensive coordinator job. Says one of the NFL's top offensive minds is in high demand. Tom Pelissero also went as far as to connect Mike McDaniel to Atlanta. He was an assistant with the Falcons when Matt Ryan, the team's newly hired president of football, won MVP and went to the Super Bowl 9 years ago.
Yeah, I can't see that being the case.
You think he's a head coach this cycle?
No.
I don't either.
No.
I think a lot of people want to get on his good side and try to put their foot in the door for him to be their offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And I think this organization might be one of them.
I 100% ride with you there. That's the way I view him this cycle. He's going to have to pull what Robert Saleh did. Go prove yourself that you can call plays.
Right. On the bright side, Ramon, of if that report is true from Connor Hughes, that it's Falcons and Giants for Harbaugh and Stefanski. If that means the Titans get Robert Saleh, I'm pretty happy.
Yeah.
Are you?
I take Robert Saleh. Absolutely. I would.
Robert Saleh or Matt Nagy?
The optics wise, I think you feel better about Saleh than you do Nagy for whatever reason.
I think this fan base would, yeah.
Seeing how much he's capable of doing with that defense, though, with it being as young as it is, and probably take some of the meddling out that the Jets had, that I feel like he can just play football or coach football. Barring his staff, right? Picking the right people on his staff as coaches, it could work.
More Wildcard weekend reaction for you coming up. Tyler Dunn going to join us at 9:20 to talk about his perspective on the Titans head coach search as it pertains to a couple of candidates out of Green Bay, and Jeff Hafley and Mike McCarthy. You can jump in at 615-737-1045 as we get you more NFL reaction. Two more games we haven't talked about yet coming up next. For over 50 years, Brentwood Jewelry has been proudly serving the Brentwood community with exceptional style and exceptional deals every day. What's going on? It's Will Boldick. I could personally vouch for the family-owned and operated business and expertise that you get when you walk in the door at Brentwood Jewelry. I've had a number of birthday presents, Valentine's Day gifts, an engagement ring that I've bought from Brentwood Jewelry, and they are deeply rooted in the community here in Middle Tennessee. From Salem's service in Special Forces to his son serving as local firefighters, the Amamali family is dedicated to giving back. They're going to take care of you in a time that is imperative to support local. Shop Brentwood Jewelry, 7012 Church Street East, located in the heart of Brentwood, just off Franklin Road. The second you walk in the door, you're going to feel like family. You're going to get a good deal. You're going to get exceptional style and exceptional deals every day. That's what Brentwood Jewelry has been doing for over 50 years. Check them out online at BrentwoodJewelry.com. 7012 Church Street East, exceptional style, exceptional deals every day. That's Brentwood Jewelry, online at BrentwoodJewelry.com. The best financial move you can make this time of year? How about lowering your mortgage rate to 4.99% fixed APR, the lowest rate in years? How about getting up to $500,000 out of your home equity in the process? You can do it now by calling Loan Pronto. Hey, it's Will Bowling. With Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan, you can get a ton of cash, pay off all those high-interest credit cards, and skip up to 2 house payments. One homeowner just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours, wiped out their credit cards and 2 car loans, and saved $2,100 a month. Don't wait. No hard credit pull up front, and you probably won't even need an appraisal. Just fast, easy cash from your home's equity. Act now. Call 615-499-5780 or visit loanpronto.com. Start the new year by wiping out all higher interest debt and lowering your bills by thousands. Call 615-499-5780 and see how much cash you can get today. LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. APR for well-qualified buyers. Visit NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
.903, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Down studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. Wildcard weekend is nearing its end and starting in Jacksonville yesterday, where Josh Allen threw for 273 yards with 3 total touchdowns, leading the Bills to a 27-24 win over the Jaguars. Buffalo now travels to Denver to face the one-seeded Broncos at Mile High this Saturday. Then the 49ers beat the defending champion Eagles 23-19. Brock Purdy threw for 262 yards and 2 touchdowns, but the 49ers lost their star tight end in George Kittle, who suffered a torn Achilles early in the first half. The 49ers will play NFC West rival and one-seeded Seahawks this Saturday in Seattle. Then in Foxborough last night, the Patriots beat the Chargers 16-3. Drake May, in his first playoff game of his career, threw for 268 yards and a score. The Patriots host the winner of tonight's game as the Steelers host the Texans in Pittsburgh with kickoff at 7:15 on ESPN. This morning, per ESPN's Adam Schefter, the Packers are expected to try to work out a deal in the coming days to keep head coach Matt LaFleur in Green Bay. LaFleur currently has 1 year remaining on his contract. The Packers lost to the Bears on Saturday, 31-27. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Break it easy once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Fourth and final hour, 9 a.m. here already on Ramon and Will. Glad you are with us as we catch you up on Wildcard Weekend, on Transfer Portal, on everything in between. Titans coaching process. Tyler Dunn at golongtd.com going to join us in 15 minutes. Someone who can speak very intelligently about anything in the NFL.
Yes,
but we're going to talk a little bit about Mike McCarthy and Jeff Hafley. Other candidates for the Titans, where John Harbaugh sits in his process, and get Tyler's take as someone we love who's not been on the show in a while. Good to have him back on.
It has. I texted him late last week, and he was excited about the conversation, man. So I'm looking forward to Ty. He, to me, does deep dives.
Long-form writing about the NFL at golongtd.com.
Absolutely. He's just good at he's got a lot of information on the Texans, the Bills as of late, too. And, of course, you mentioned Green Bay scenario, too, and very intimate into that relationship and conversation around it. He's in that area, so.
Love it.
Looking forward to having him on.
Patriots 16, Chargers 3. Juwan Jennings now has as many touchdown passes in the postseason as Justin Herbert in his career. Drake May, after starting slowly, 6 of 15 for 95 yards and a pick in the first half, used his legs really as the differentiator between these two teams. 52 first half rushing yards for Drake May, and then in the second half, found more success through the year. 11 of 14, 173 and a touchdown. The big throw to Hunter Henry, which was a gorgeous ball, layered right between the corner and the safety for 28 yards, the former Charger. How do we view these two quarterbacks? And again, I'm exhausted in the fact that in the NFL, we view everything as it pertains to what do the quarterbacks do? But I feel like especially in this game, Ramon, this was an example of Drake May doing something in his first playoff game that Justin Herbert has struggled to do in his entire career. Find a way. And at home, with the benefit of home field advantage, Drake May found a way to win that game last night.
You know what's crazy about these two? Well, what's fascinating about this matchup with these two? Defensively, they're a lot alike. They play hard. They got guys that can get after the quarterback on the edge.
A lot of former Titans on both teams.
Both teams. I'm watching Tierra Tart last night make plays.
Elijah Molden.
They're splash.
Jack Gibbons.
I mean, Harold Landry.
Robert Spillane.
Like all across the board. You're watching both teams. Austin Hooper at tight end. You're watching both teams strategically do the things that they want to be good at. And the only reason I think we have, I guess, credit to talk about the quarterbacks, Will, or make them the main topic is one quarterback ascended while the other one took a back seat. Like you have questions about what New England's offensive line is, especially with the young rookie Will Campbell playing left tackle for him. They got young guy at left guard. And you look at what the Chargers have too. They got some experience there. They're banged up. But what I'm saying, essentially, if you break it down, they're even. But I just think the Chargers' offensive line is just worse in how they are running the offense, too.
I agree.
So, Drake May was able to do something that Justin Herbert hadn't been able to do yet. Be successful in the postseason. I do ask that question like everybody else when we look at what Justin Herbert is. How do you judge Justin Herbert as the franchise quarterback when it seemed like his franchise is doing him a disservice too? But at some point in time, the same way Drake May was able to make it happen with his legs or through creativity or hitting his tight ends in the right pocket or the right pouch, like he's being eclipsed time and time again, year after year, of these younger guys that are up showing him these head like matchups. That's the issue that he has. Like, I'm not out on Justin Herbert as a quarterback, but I question, why are we giving him this much hope? I feel like he's more in an Andy Dalton tier than he ever is Patrick Mahomes, Drake May now, or heck, anybody else. Like, he to me is more Andy Dalton. He's fine enough is the way I view him.
Which to me is really harsh because I think athletically, Justin Herbert is triple the athlete that Andy Dalton is in terms of his arm talent and his overall athleticism.
How do we judge him now?
But what did that do for you last night again?
Exactly.
Like that's the next question, which I think is a fair one. The thing is, you can't have a 5-year, $262.5 million contract and be the guy that needs more help, fairly or unfairly. That's just the reality of the situation.
Facts.
When your salary cap hit this past season was $37.3 million, according to Spot Track, and goes up to $46.3 this year. You've got to do more with less. That's not fair. That's just the reality of the situation and the way this works in the National Football League. Patrick Mahomes has had to deal with it. Josh Allen has had to deal with it. Tom Brady and Peyton Manning had to deal with it for their entire careers. It's not a one-to-one comparison, but what did Peyton Manning do when he lost Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne late in his career? He helped Pierre Garçon and Austin Collie become household names. Julius Thomas was a guy that you feared in Denver at the tight end position. That's why those guys are at that level, and the Justin Herberts of the world are down here way below. Way below.
Yes.
I thought Drake May was really good at just deciding when to run and the ability to step up in the pocket and just find a lane. He does not get enough credit for how good of an athlete that he is.
He's starting to.
Chargers have scored 18 points in their last 10 quarters in the playoffs. Jim Harbaugh was asked last night, is Greg Roman the right play caller for this offense? You know his answer was?
I saw it.
He said, I don't know. I don't have the answer to that right now. Let me translate that for you. No.
Publicly, I want to embarrass him.
They're going to have a new offensive play caller next year.
Yes, they will. Yeah. And at some point, you got to find somebody that understands Justin Herbert. You just have to. Like, say what you want to about him. Like, yes, I'm criticizing because he's yet to prove it. I'm not going to give credit to a guy that's yet to show me anything. It's the same way, respectfully, a lot of Titans fans feel about Trevor Lawrence. Like, yeah, but what have you done? Like, to me, he and Trevor Lawrence are walking hand in hand right now with what they've done. They are dynamic. They can go make plays. They're big body guys. They're athletes with their legs. They got a cannon of an arm, and yet they can't get over the hump of winning playoff games.
Honestly, for different reasons, I view Justin Herbert and Jalen Hurts similarly.
Ooh. So
when everything's right around them, they are good enough to win you a Super Bowl. But over the weekend, on the same day, we saw what happens when everything is not right around them. For Jalen Hurts and for Justin Herbert, both, and in different ways, play calling held them back. You made the point earlier. They didn't use Jalen Hurts enough in the designed quarterback run game. For Justin Herbert, it was some play calling. I also think it's just some of their offensive line injuries that gave him no chance.
That's true.
He was the most pressured quarterback in the NFL this year. It had been since 2018 that the most pressured QB in the NFL had made a playoff game. Like, just making it as far as the Chargers did with as much as Justin Herbert is pressured is not normal.
But I would also say that too, pressure's a part of it. Like I watched last
100%.
night. Drake May stand in the pocket and deliver passes with guys in his face.
I totally agree.
Like it's totally that agree. If we're splitting hairs on how to play the position,
correct.
I'm seeing a young Drake May do this. We're watching, of course, Caleb Williams in Chicago do the exact same thing. And I'm not saying there's a clutch gene component to it.
I agree with you.
But you just mentioned, and I agree with you, there's a certain point to where the quarterback is just going to pull you, drag you to the finish line with him.
Yeah, you lose that benefit of the doubt when you sign a $260 million contract. We can use that excuse for you in years 1, 2, or 3. Not in 2026 for Justin Herbert.
So, Greg Roman, you do point the finger at him and say, well, there's got to be a way to protect him, and so this pressure isn't a real thing.
I think you point the finger at a lot of different reasons why Justin Herbert has not lived up to his very high expectations of the postseason. One of them goes to Greg Roman, one of them goes to the offensive line issues, but ultimately the buck stops with Justin Herbert. Find a way.
Do I want him as a franchise quarterback if given the opportunity? Yes.
No question.
Yes.
No question. But he is not the type of quarterback that you can give the contract and say, all right, we've got this box checked. Now let's go use the money we have left on defense and on. You've still got to give him every possible resource to be successful. And whether it's offensive line issues, whether it's offensive play caller, they haven't gotten the mix right, the formula right in the postseason.
And that's where I hate that we have to believe in the franchise quarterback with the max salary, that the quarterback deserves this type of power over a team. Like, I legitimately have those issues because if you're telling me his pie need to be cut in half to give it to another wide receiver or a better veteran running back. And here's the thing, they got good young running backs. It's just a matter of, bro, when are you going to do your part in this class project?
Agreed. Coming up, Tyler Dunn at GoLongTD.com will join us. By the way, quick breaking story in college football, not a surprise. Dylan Raiola commits to Oregon.
Did he?
Yeah.
I didn't expect that.
There was steam being gained on that over the weekend significantly. He's either going to start if Dante Moore goes pro, or apparently he's willing to sit behind Dante Moore if Dante Moore comes back to Oregon. Which, by the way that Indiana game went, I think Dante Moore needs another year.
Yeah, I think so. I'm talking about belt to behind.
He never had good games against good defenses all season at Oregon. His one season as starter. Guy needs more seasoning.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't want to play for the New York Jets if I'm him. Coming up, Tyler Dunn at GoLongTD.com. We'll talk about Mike McCarthy and Jeff Hafley. We'll talk about a number of candidates for the Titans and get his thoughts on the Matt LaFleur situation in Green Bay. Coming up next. Ramona Will on 104.5 The Zone, continuing in hour number 4 with a ton to discuss this morning. Wildcard weekend reaction, Titans in a head coach search. Who knows what John Harbaugh is going to do? Who knows what the Packers are going to do with Matt LaFleur? With Ramon Foster, I'm Will Bowling. Joining us to break it all down, one of our favorites, and it has been too long since this guy has joined us. Tyler Dunn, golongtd.com. Tyler, welcome back, man. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Oh man, when I get that Ramon text message, a few days in advance, which is amazing because usually these spots, folks are like, "Hey, can you pop on today?" You guys had your stuff together, which is appreciated. When I get that text from Ramon, it's an automatic, hell yeah, it's great to chat again. It's been too long, and I apologize for that as well.
No problem at all. We're all busy, and man, you are crushing it at golongtd.com, by the way, and it is a must-have long-form storytelling, great stuff, and I love the piece with Dawson Knox as well, a Nashville native, and all these things. But, Tyler, I wanted to talk about some of these Packers candidates for the Titans, and I want to start with Matt LaFleur because we've got reporting out there saying that he is going to try to work out a deal with Ed Policy and the Packers and the front office. Is that any kind of assurance that a deal is going to get worked out? Is this a natural time to move on? Where do we sit with Matt LaFleur at this point? Because not only is he someone who's coached for the Titans before, he's also got quite a history with President of Football Chad Brinker here.
No doubt, my interpretation of that verbiage, I mean, in Adam Schefter's credit, Andy and Rappaport, they do a great job. They're all over this stuff. But to me, I interpret that as an agent for LaFleur saying, don't get cheap with us. Come on, let's pony it up or something. That's where it gets interesting is I'm sure they had some dollars and cents figured out and, let's get this done. Let's dot that I across that T. And Ed Policy put out some support, the team president put out some support for LaFleur ahead of the playoffs, saying how incredible it is that the Packers were even in this thing with all their injuries. And then they have an all-time epic total meltdown. I mean, and that's just putting it mildly. I mean, one game usually doesn't get somebody fired, but how could this game not get a coach fired? I'm sure you've got the stat right in front of you too, but going into this weekend, teams leading playoff games by 15-plus points to start the fourth quarter were 172-3. The only other 3 times, the Falcons Super Bowl collapse, the Giants collapse in the wild card in 2002, and then a 1972 game between Dallas and San Francisco. And this is on par with what we've seen out of Matt LaFleur in January. Excellent football coach, excellent developer of the quarterback position. He does so many things incredibly well, but he's tight, he's high-strung. The team takes on the personality of their coach, and it's got to be a real conversation worth having here. So it sounds like they want to bring him back, and maybe they want to bring him back at a lesser deal after what we saw Saturday night. But I'm a little surprised that they would retain him and extend him.
Tyler Dunn, golongtd.com, our guest. It is such an interesting situation because you have him maybe under the market value of what he could get if he was an open candidate. But you also have a President Ed Policy who doesn't want him to be a lame duck coach and wants to do something, right? This offseason with him. Hypothetically, if Matt LaFleur was to become available, Tyler, how do you think the fit would work with Cam Ward? Do you see the Titans as a potential fit? Just logically kind of connecting those dots for a coach of his background for the Titans who, from everything we know, are valuing head coach experience and raising the floor of this franchise moving forward.
That's a great way to put it, Will, because, Matt LaFleur is getting killed, and justifiably so. I mean, that was egregious to, be up 21-3. And it's not just the 21-3. I mean, to be up by 3 late, formative offense, and to keep taking those shots down the field. I mean, I guess that's who he is, and coaches around the NFL know who he is. They just don't have a formative offense. Despite all of that, he is, when it comes to the Titans situation, it would make a lot of sense. I mean, what he did with Jordan Love was so impressive. Now, granted, they had 3 years to really bring him along slowly behind the scenes. It's a lot different in that regard, where Cam Ward's already started the year. He's the number 1 overall pick. He's got the expectations that come with that. It's not like he could just sit behind a future Hall of Famer. But, Matt LaFleur did develop Jordan Love. And I think that there's a million things that go into that, fundamentals, footwork, just, syncing up your feet with your torso, with your arm, with everything you see downfield. I mean, the Jordan Love we saw in that playoff game, it's a different human being than what we saw, early in his career, when he got thrown into that Arrowhead game behind Aaron Rodgers when Aaron Rodgers got COVID, to even his first year as a starter. He looks like a different player. I mean, in what planet does a quarterback throw for, I don't know, whatever it was, 323 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 0 picks in a road playoff game and lose? So I would think that Matt LaFleur would maximize Cam Ward's ability and then some, because you see the ability. I'm sure you guys talk about it every day. The big arm, the guts. He's willing to go downfield, similar to Jordan Love. I mean, these guys, they're not dinking and dunking. They want to make the play downfield, which is admirable. I think it'd be a great fit. And you have that conversation about losing playoff games when you become a team that can get to the playoffs, I suppose.
We're joined by Ty Dunn of GoLongTD.com. Ty, I feel like when we bring you on, we got to ask questions that kind of lead to other questions because that's the type of reporting that you do, Ty. So I'm glad to have you on today, man. Thanks for saying yes.
Absolutely.
With that being said, Ty, the first question I want to ask you, man, is what is the state of NFL coaches right now? Are we being too just blinded by Ben Johnson's and, other guys that are cut from that cloth in year 1, year 2 that is winning a good bit? Because Harbaugh's out. You got conversations about Tomlin. You got Matt LaFleur, who's won a lot in Green Bay. Ty, what is the state of NFL coaches? This is almost like the college world we're living in.
You know what? I've had that same conversation with everybody in the NFL, whether it's former players, coaches themselves, people in the front office. I don't think anybody has a freaking clue what makes a good NFL head coach, right? Like, is it your ability to call plays and stay at the cutting edge of offensive football and maximize a young quarterback? Maybe. It works out sometimes. But, hell, I was all in and then some on Brian Dable with the New York Giants, seeing what he did with Josh Allen up close. And players tell me how much they loved Brian Dable and the way he communicates. And he's somebody that will scream into your ear hole 1 minute and love you up the next. I'm like, this guy's going to be a home run hire. And he makes the playoffs, wins a playoff game in year 1 with the Giants. And then everything completely falls apart. And all the assistants are getting fired and they're burning through quarterbacks. And the more you hear, it's like, okay, well, he was a little disorganized behind the scenes. And there's a million things, as you know, that go into being an NFL head coach that nobody has a clue. It's not just 3 hours on a Sunday. You've got to be able to run an entire building. And then, there's people who can run the entire building, but then they're thrust into 4th and 2 at midfield, everything on the line, and they can't handle that pressure. They can't think on their feet. They don't have the instincts to know what to do right then. So I imagine it's whatever you prioritize as an owner, you almost just have to write a list. Is it developing a Cam Ward? Is number one the goal to maximize this player, as it probably should be? Then you're probably considering that more than, okay, this person's going to be really organized behind the scenes. It's tough. If I had the answers, I wouldn't be running a Substack. That's for damn sure. But I don't think anybody really has the answers. I don't know. These owners, we're shown time and time again, most of these owners don't know what in the hell they're doing. And they're surrounded by yes men and yes women that tell them everything that they want to hear. What the Falcons are bringing in Matt Ryan to run the show. Good luck with that. With Ian Cunningham as the GM, we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, we see things fail repeatedly. But I think the through line is the GM and the coach and the quarterback. They got to be synced up. They got to be on the same page. And you don't want too many cooks in the kitchen. Sounds like that's been a problem for the Titans in the past. Somehow, streamline that and have everybody on the same page, and then you give yourself a chance to at least win.
Yeah, you're right. It's fascinating with the coaching search that the Titans are having. I think they're going to be very thorough. But you got recently sitting head coaches in Mike McDaniel. We just mentioned Harbaugh, Stefanski. The question I'm asking you, and also the one that we've talked a good bit about here, Matt Nagy. What fits best with what those coaches' personalities are to what the Titans need from your perspective as an outsider watching this team the last few years, and of course watching Vrabel go do his thing, all that type of stuff. Of those coaches available, who do you see that could be the guy that the Titans need, not who they want? Because Harbaugh is who everybody want right now.
Exactly, right. And I doubt that. You never know. I mean, I'm always looking for an excuse to get to Nashville. Maybe John Harbaugh just want to get some Hattie B chicken and go to winners and losers, throwbacks. I know that's what I would pick Nashville.
That sounds like you. There. Yeah, exactly. That sounds like your choice right there.
Get a little karaoke in there. That sounds good to me. But I'm not John Harbaugh. I doubt he picks the Titans. And you know what? It's weird because we're told that the coaching candidates aren't any good. That's a bad. But who knows? I mean, that's why you got to put in the work. If you're an owner, if you're a team president, if you're a GM, if you're somebody hiring these people, like get to know a Jeff Hafley, get to know a Matt Nagy. And you know, I'm not going to pretend like I know who the next stud is. Maybe it's a Clint Kubiak. I don't know, but I think you really do have to figure out, okay, why didn't it work for this coach before? And I think the older I get, I guess I do kind of gravitate toward the coaches who were head coaches before, you know, like just because it failed once. I mean, maybe there were reasons that it failed. I'm thinking of Matt Nagy, and I don't really even know where I stand on him because I've done a lot of reporting around the Chicago Bears and how that kind of went down. You know, they win the division with Mitch Trubisky, a quarterback that he inherited, didn't draft. They're a double doink away from the divisional round where they would have beat up the Rams. I mean, Vic Fangio, their D coordinator, knew exactly how to beat McVay. Bill Belichick basically used the same scheme, all that stuff. Never happened. So things are good. They get into the next off season, and you're thinking, okay, they're going to hurl their belief behind this quarterback. The coaching staff was all in from Nagy on down. When I was told Brad Childress comes in as a consultant, and you know that's basically a mentor, another football dad for Matt Nagy, and he is completely out on Trubisky. Shows all these charts to all these reasons why Trubisky's going to be a total failure. I suppose he was proven right? I mean, Trubisky's a backup quarterback and has been. But, you know, players told me this, coaches, by the time they got to training camp, it was like Nagy was all out on Trubisky. He's done with them. And it kind of got off on a weird note. The vibes were bad. They get beat up in week one, and they never really recover. So, you know, he kind of like, you know, was he right? Was he wrong to coach him that way? I mean, Trubisky never did work out, so maybe he was right. But you also have to believe in your quarterback off of winning a division and having a team that could contend for a Super Bowl. If you're the owner, you got to somehow hurl yourself into those situations and come to your own judgment to decide whether or not that's going to be your coach with your quarterback.
Tyler Dunn, golongtd.com, our guest. Tyler, when we look at a couple of other names with Packers ties specifically, the Mike McCarthy discourse is so interesting because third chances are rare in the NFL, but this guy was a play caller for 18 years as head coach or offensive coordinator, and he had 11 offenses finish top 10 in that time. He is both a proven quarterback developer. He also has worked with two really talented quarterbacks that probably would have been good for a lot of different coaches. How do you view him in today's era of the NFL as an option here? Is Mike McCarthy in 2026 a smart pathway forward for the development of Cam Ward, who also has been compared to a young Aaron Rodgers in some ways in their skill sets?
Man. Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
You know? I mean, this would be his third time around, but you know, I was really critical of Mike when he gets fired by Green Bay. You know, I wrote that story at Bleacher Report. I think it was 2018, 2019, whenever he was canned, and so there were players who kind of chuckled and said it was hilarious that he was taking any credit for Aaron Rodgers' success when it was all Rodgers freelancing and freestyling and kind of operating on second reaction and hearing the play coming in from Mike McCarthy and trash it, doing his own thing, you know. And then you hear from other people, well, like, no, like he early in Aaron Rodgers' career, you look at even the way he held the football, like that Jeff Tedford fundamental system way up above his head. You know, Mike McCarthy through that quarterback school, you know, he did kind of hone his skills and get his footwork down and change his ball placement. You've got to give him some credit, even though Aaron Rodgers, I'm sure, privately isn't really giving him any credit for all of that. So that matters. But then his offense kind of gets stale. There's no misdirection. There's no tomfoolery. There's nothing pre-snap. And it's just like, all right, here's what we're running. We're going to win off mismatches. So go stale. He's out of football for a year. But I'll say this. Dallas hires him. you think the game has passed him by, and Dak Prescott put up some really good numbers.
Right.
Like they had a good thing working, winning 12 games in back-to-back years. And I had somebody in Dallas tell me, like, you should know this going into Dallas, like that it's going to be a circus, and it's Jerry's world. But there was a day, like Mike McCarthy, I think he's getting lunch, and there's just marketing people all over the place. There's tours walking by, and he kind of turns to somebody. He's like, man, if I knew it was going to be like this, I never would have taken the job. And so, part of you thinks, well, you should kind of know what you're getting into. But then part of me did kind of feel bad for him. I mean, it really is a circus there, even beyond your wildest imagination. So again, that's where you have to figure out, like, can he continue to innovate? What's that pitch if you're Mike McCarthy? What offense are you pitching that you're going to run with Cam Ward? I don't know what that is because, it is a young man's game and you got to stay a step ahead. But at least his ability to win games in Dallas, I'll say this, it absolutely warrants these interviews because that's a tough place for anybody to win with that owner.
Well, you know about Green Bay a good bit, man. Where are you on Jeff Hafley, the defensive coordinator there who's getting this conversation started about head coaching opportunities?
Man, part of the job is and you were around the best to do it, Ramon, in my comment. A big part of that job is your ability to speak publicly, set the tone. I always think if I was working for somebody and they had press conferences every day, I'd be watching I want to see what my boss is saying every day. Like Tomlin gets that. Like his messaging. I mean, he would set the tone for you guys week in and week out. This is how we're going to get after it. Yep. I think Hafley is A++++ and all that. Like I can't get enough of his press conferences from afar. He just knows how to set a tone. Micah Parsons went down. We're not going to blink, said all the right things, had his moments, right? There's been times when they've been able to make do without the player that their whole defense was based on, and then they give up 25 points in the fourth quarter of a playoff game to Chicago, which it was a total meltdown. And I'd pin it more on LaFleur, and I just wrote a story on why it'd go along if people want to check it out. But I don't know, like it's not a good look if that's like your lasting impression. To play a part in giving this game away. But I think players love playing for him. He's dead on with this messaging. Schematically, he did a lot of really cool things throughout the course of the year. But they were a team that won 9 of 18 games. Like I don't know if he's this defensive mastermind. I really don't. I like what he says, but I have no clue if this is somebody that's going to take over your defense, turn it into a top 5 unit. And if people say he's got head coach material, I'm sure there's something to that. But it's something he hasn't done before at this level too. So you don't know until you see it.
Tyler Dunn, golongtd.com has been our guest. Golongtd.com, outstanding long-form storytelling, outstanding come draft season as well, which we'll be very interested in as the Titans have a top 5 pick once again. Tyler, great to catch up with you. Thank you as always for the time.
Tyler, we barely got started, man. Thank you.
Oh, I know. I don't know who to tell you the Texans should or the Titans should hire. I've got no clue, but best of luck. And it was great talking about it.
It was. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Tyler. Appreciate it.
Jeez.
Thanks.
Yes,
all
sir.
Right, Tyler Dunn with us this morning. Great perspective on the Packers candidates and on all of it. To be honest with you, he's the best. Love Tyler.
Real good insight by him. I like the conversation because he thinks about what he's going to do and he researches it too.
Yeah, that lasting impression that Jeff Hafley left in Green Bay, that's not a totally fair way to evaluate him as a head coach candidate, but it's hard to overlook.
It is. 25 in one quarter.
615-737-1045. Final call for phone calls. Let's talk about the one game we haven't touched on yet from the weekend. Actually, 2. Rams-Panthers. And I forgot about the other game because after like one play, it wasn't a game. Oregon and Indiana from over the weekend. We'll dive into both of those games to wrap up the show next.
Did you know that up to 50% of the air you breathe in your home comes from your crawl space? Have you ever looked in your crawl space? I get it. Most of us don't even want to know what's in there. But I'm here to tell you, moisture in your crawl space can create unhealthy issues that can make their way into the air you breathe every day in your home. This is Ramon Foster, and this is where United Structural Systems can help you out. USS has been keeping homes dry and stable in Middle Tennessee since 1994, so you know they aren't going anywhere. Go ahead and help control moisture and musty smells with mold treatment and crawl space encapsulation that comes with the USS guarantee. Encapsulation helps reduce high humidity in your crawl space. It also helps deter mold and mildew and protects your crawl space from pests and wood rot. So go ahead and turn your crawl space into a healthy space. Call USS for all your foundation repair and waterproofing need, and you can get a free estimate from the people that I trust. You can go to USSTN.com, that's USSTN.com, or call them 615-488-7855, United Structural Systems.
Ramona Will, 104.5 The Zone, wrapping up the show. Hit the podcast feed if you missed Eric Kane talking Vols transfer portal or Tyler Dunn talking about Titans head coach search and candidates a few minutes ago. Rams-Panthers was fun Saturday afternoon. 34-31 for LA. The 4 lead changes in the fourth quarter were tied for the most in the final period and/or overtime in a playoff game in NFL history. The 5th playoff game with 4 lead changes in the fourth quarter, and the first since Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes' 2018 AFC title. Impressive. That throw from Matthew Stafford to Kobe Parkinson, elite.
Yeah. Yes.
What do we learn about Rams-Panthers?
Matthew Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams are good under pressure. Period. There's no other way. I mean, and of course, Carolina scored too quickly, giving too much time to a team that had experience with these type of situations right here. This is where, the have and the have-nots of being familiar with the postseason, familiar with the quarterback being in those positions and defenses standing tall when they have to. They did. That was a super unique game. I thought it was good all across the board when you look at what both quarterbacks were capable of doing and able to do. I got to give Bryce Young a lot of credit. Like, he has it now. His percentages as far as his completions in the game wasn't overly great, but what I would tell you is this: he's a competitor. Like, there's a lot to build off of with Dave Canales and that team there that I don't think Matt Rule saw in being a head coach for that team. Like, they got adults in the room, man, and that's what you're looking to bring it back to Nashville for Cam Ward. Put adults in the room to be able to handle young quarterbacks and teams like that, too. And the other part, too, that always shows his ugly head, man, in these type of situations is it's so hard to hit on draft picks. It's so hard to project players, right? Because Xavier Legette coming to that game on his horse, Dollar Bill, like, you got to also play Dollar Bill type of games. That was a beautiful quarter horse that he walked in on, okay? But you also got to play ball. I'm not sure his pathway is going to be, but, like, successes and failures of teams matter in these moments where you're watching Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua cook for Matthew Stafford, and he's not getting answers from his supposed to be one of his premier pass catchers in Xavier Legette. And I know Ted McMillan is playing his part in it, but you got to hit on those types of guys.
I think we learned in this game, first of all, that the NFC West in 2025 and 26 had one of the all-time great seasons by any one division in the NFL.
Yeah.
First and foremost. I think secondly, it's significant that the Rams can play like their C-plus game and win on the road in a playoff game. Just because it's Carolina, you don't take that for granted. A lot of drop passes, too many footballs hitting the ground for a multitude of reasons, either inaccurate, Stafford under pressure, Stafford hitting his hand on a helmet.
Bro.
And him and Josh Allen both.
Quarterbacks got beat up this playoff run.
I think it was Big Cat, Barstool Big Cat said on Twitter, like, are offensive linemen going to have to start all wearing Guardian caps? That way, when your throwing hand hits it, it's a little more cushioned. Like, low-key, might have cooked with that one. It's not a bad idea.
Makes sense. Trevor Lawrence hit his. No, Josh Allen hit his.
Josh Allen hit his too, yeah.
Sure did.
So, anyway, it's like pitchers or hitters in baseball. There's so many little muscles and little joints and tendons and fingers that it's fragile. What else was fragile was Oregon's defense, 56-22 for Indiana. I mean, like, this game also, was Friday night, so I feel like you all have had time to digest it and let it come out the other end, so we've not talked about it a ton. But also, this wasn't a football game from the first play.
No, it wasn't.
I mean, 56-22, 5 touchdown passes for Fernando Mendoza, made it 49-15. It was 42-7 early in the second half. D'Angelo Pons, go Dukes, with an interception for a touchdown on the first play. How confident are you Indiana rolls over Miami now in the national championship game?
Almost very confident.
I can't wait to watch the matchup on the front sevens of both these teams against these offensive lines.
Yes. Also, Ruben Bain Jr. did nothing that last game either.
Nope.
That were the arms, and I stepped on my tongue a little bit. Legitimately, the arms were a problem. He couldn't get off of blocks. He simply could not get off of blocks. That's going to be
against future
NFL tackles
potentially that Ole Miss has. Yeah.
He couldn't, and bro, that was a bad look for him in that game. He's got to redeem himself against a team that shows no mercy in the trenches with Indiana.
Yeah, it's unbelievable how good Indiana is at everything.
If you could bet and just compound your bets into the next one and the next one, you probably have enough for college tuition at this point with what Indiana's done. Because even I denied them, didn't think they would be able to do what they did to Oregon. I thought them beating them 30-20 while they were up. And Oregon this past season was just like, yeah, well, Oregon to get their leg back. No, they didn't. Absolutely not. Like you said, from play one, it just wasn't a game. They ran the football on them. Oregon, and like you said, Dante Moore, inability to make plays and create, one being under pressure the way he was, and just being outside of the pocket. I think he had an intentional grounding in that game. They didn't blitz him. They just simply just beat their behind each and every play.
Every time they got to Dante Moore, they created some sort of big play for their defense.
Yes.
Either an interception or a fumble.
And here's the thing,
they lived
too.
in the backfield.
Looking at Fernando Mendoza coming out, he's going to be as quirky as anybody ever has been. Any high draft pick has been. Most of these the guys have had an element of cool.
Yeah.
I think he's got it. It just comes with a weird smile. That man can play ball.
It's a different kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a different type of cool.
Back at it tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Austin Price at 8:20. We'll talk about Sam Levitt in Tennessee, the latest out of the portal for the Vols. Who knows what's going to happen today in the coaching process? So you want to be locked into the zone 24/7 right now as the Titans search for a head coach. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning, 6 a.m.
Remember, your Twitter fingers and your mic is always high.